United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages, as well as all the lyrics of all the pop rock songs. And they all sing the same refrain. It's fun.
This is a special request. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. I'm your stand-in host, Mitch Shanasa. Adam Dunn is out there in...
Does that make me stand-in co-host?
That makes my stand-in co-host. Introduce yourself. You get to do it.
So I'm your stand-in co-host, the kid.
There you go.
Yeah.
No. Stand-in co-host has a name.
Oh, I get a name?
Hey,
so I get to be Ryan?
Ryan Hedrick, yeah.
I'm
Stand-in
Ryan
co-host Ryan
today.
Hedrick,
Stand-in co-host Ryan Hedrick.
Yeah. You want to do it from the top? Because just now that we worked out the kinks?
No, we're okay.
You're good?
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay. Adam is out there in Las Vegas doing all manner of business conferencing.
NCIA convention. I can't believe it's
so
been a
many
year since I've been
There's
there.
so many conventions going right now in Vegas.
Yeah. There's
like 5 this week.
There's always like a crazy porn convention.
No, I mean so many weed conventions. Like this week, so many weed business conventions. Yesterday was ArcView,
and then
today is some like gala dinner. And he went over the whole itinerary. With
I was there for that last year, and it was interesting. Lots of crazy. That's where the Frog Wall story came from.
Well, have we told that story on the air?
I think so. But I essentially ate Frog Wall and thought it was cheesecake.
That's not essentially what happened.
It's pretty much.
You said to the investor,
"That's good cheesecake. Have you tried some?"
That's the story. That's the punchline of the joke there.
And it was
a
multi-million-dollar dinner, and I thought the Frog Wall was cheesecake.
The dinner didn't cost multi-millions of dollars.
No, but I'm saying like the what was happening at that dinner was like worth multi-millions of dollars, and I was asking the investors if he had tried the cheesecake yet, and it was really duck liver wrapped in cotton candy. Why would you wrap that in cotton candy?
It was wrapped in cotton candy, which I got to your defense.
You couldn't
That's
tell
not
what was
usually
inside.
how foie gras. It was totally sealed in cotton candy.
No, it was. They
like
would take the foie gras on a stick. They dipped it in the little spinner, and it would get on cotton candy, and you couldn't see anything, but it was small enough that you just.
I could definitely see how that could be confused for.
And then I thought it was just like a cherry filling or like something.
Nope, duck liver.
Yeah, it was duck liver. It's fucking gross.
You said it was delicious.
Maybe it was delicious as cheesecake. Yeah, but I can do without the duck liver. The duck liver is not my thing. I was wondering why you ready? I was wondering why my mic just sounds so low. I'm over here looking at my levels, and it's just because it wasn't turned exactly the right way.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds so much better now.
So we don't have Adam, but what we do have today is, I think, a great follow-up to last week's show.
Yeah.
We have the team from Hydroponic Research, the makers of Veg Plus Bloom.
You said it right.
They all say it different.
It's Veg Plus Bloom.
It's all of them.
Veg and Bloom.
Yeah.
Veg Bloom. Yeah.
All those.
It's all the same.
Those guys, I got to catch up with them on Monday and start picking their brains. They are going to definitely be breaking down the science of fertilizers, essentially, of nutrients. We call them nutrients. They call them fertilizers in agriculture. But we've done that on organics. I have a feeling that the 63 of you who are already sitting in the chat room are definitely going to be psyched. I think this one's going to be one you're going to be referencing back. So those guys are going to be here in about 20 minutes. We got, of course, some news.
Why we have just a second of downtime? I really don't like this camera angle. I feel like they're just looking at the back of my head. I'm gonna move it real quick and
it is a weird angle.
Let's do a general consensus because we're doing it from my house, so I've been trying to find the right spot, but we have different guests every week. Sometimes Adam's not here. We have costumes on, so let's do a general consensus of where.
I think this camera angle is a bit ridiculous because a third of the frame is blinding bright light, and a third of the frame is your back. So it looks like you have a bad seat in your.
I might be able to see you when there's a guest on.
Pull it from this angle. Yeah, there you go. That's where I think we got to do it, and then we'll just rotate the guests about 45 degrees, in their chairs. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, boom. I think that'll be good.
Let me get this set up real quick.
Cool. So what are you gonna do in the meantime? Because people are watching this.
We're gonna get set up right now.
Oh, cool. You got your camera holder. Stand there. So thanks for hanging with us, guys. It is like a door to another dimension, Spring Hill Jack. That's what it is. And when people enter through that's a cool thing. Yeah, because it's just the blinding light. Okay, we gotta take a minute. Give a happy birthday to Matt Riot.
Happy birthday, Riot.
Riot, I don't even know how old you are today, dude.
40.
Are you older than Adam? Is Matt Riot older than Adam? Does anyone know that? I don't think he is. Also, we do send our condolences to Matt Riot. He lost his grandmother this week. Her name was Chiquita. When she was born, her mom wanted a boy, I guess. So when the nurse handed her to the mom wouldn't take her or name her. So the nurse named her Chiquita because she was so tiny and beautiful. And she raised Matt. She just passed this week, and we would just ask all of you to have her in her thoughts as she passes to wherever she's headed from here. She's meant a great deal to him, and he's a good friend of ours, and we certainly wish him and his family the best in this time.
For sure.
So
that should be a little bit better.
Yeah, some crazy stuff is going on here.
What's going on?
I'm looking at the angle.
What are you
Seeing
looking
it.
at?
I'm looking at the angle. It's settling.
Oh, you're letting the lag catch up.
Yep, exactly.
Watching it
Can you see it?
I can see it. Yeah, from
Looks
right here.
good? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
It looks okay.
Cool.
It's a
I
little
like
bit
the
of
glare off the chair.
It's
Chair
a
glare.
little chair glare, but once somebody's sitting there, there won't be. So would you like a dab?
I would. Tell me about, so you're doing rosin
Yeah. Still killing
fads.
it.
It's not a fad.
No.
At least not yet.
Hopefully not yet. I mean, I have some pretty nice flower rosin today.
Tell us about the rosin.
So this was just off of some outdoor greenhouse flowers that we squished at, under 200 degrees. And we got just about 18 and 19% yield, and that's just off the first squish. So, I mean, in reality, I could go back and do it again.
You said under 200 degrees?
Yeah, under 200
Fahrenheit.
degrees, yeah. So, if I went back,
So
and
when you were
squished it
showing me
again-
like 500 degrees before, it's not always 500.
No, that's just what the it's not that's what the temperature of the actual heating coil
I see.
is.
It doesn't pass through.
It doesn't pass through. So essentially, what I'm going to be working on is finding a way to have a thermal installed into plates so that we can all get the right temperature. But that's what a lot of people are talking about, because right now the units on all of the plates that you can buy from any of the distributors, I mean, I feel like even Rosin Technologies or any of the pneumatic presses, hard press even, I know that it's not the temp that is set on your controller. You have to make sure that you hit it with a temp gun, but usually since that just picks up surface temperature, it's not as accurate. So you want to have a thermocouple installed, which is $100 extra maybe, but then you can have a little display. It tells you exactly how hot your plates are. But yeah, this was definitely pressed at under 200 degrees, and we got just about 19% on the first squish, and it is some super, super terpy. I think this came from Bubba Diesel.
Okay.
I think I squished like 22 grams of Bubba Diesel.
What's this here? I want to taste this.
That is
show
some
that to the
that's Chem 4. It's gonna look kind of hard to show to the camera because it's in a jar.
Show the jar. Show the jar. They can see.
But we have some of like the oilier, terpene rosin in this jar that doesn't really shatter up as much.
So this is more just pure terps.
Right.
There's
It's got a lot of moisture content still remaining.
still
in it.
so there is a lot of water in there.
But I think this came from a Chem 4. So here, give it a shot.
Yeah, that I want to taste. Is that E-nail still 1,000
Nope,
degrees?
It should be at 640, so you should be good to go.
You know what? I made a fatal mistake. I'm here solo. I'm dabbing. I don't have food.
We can make sure that we can figure something out. I think there's food here.
Now, we have gotten at least one listener request. I was expecting it to be a lot more, honestly, that we don't eat on the show.
Well, it's because it's annoying to eat in the microphone. So, I mean, essentially what we would have to do is just take a quick music break or something to eat then. But yeah, you're not really supposed to eat on the show because it's fucking annoying for other people. And we're a stoner show. It probably makes people hungry with jerk coming in.
I'm just saying, I'm shocked that only one person
Oh, right. Only one
has
person
complained.
has actually complained and not more than that.
And maybe it's just because it's Stoner Show. Everyone's kind of like...
Everyone's munching out
Yeah.
or wants to be munching out. But
It leads more to that comfortable feeling.
So I stopped by the new studio space the other day.
Tell me about that. I refuse to go there until I go there.
I almost refused to go there too because I heard, it's going to be done tomorrow. And it's
so
nowhere close
6
to
to
being
8
done.
weeks still, right?
At least.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least, he says.
At
Okay.
least. I'd say we're a good...
Because Adam said 3. I'm saying 6 to 8.
3 months maybe. 2 months
3
out.
months. Okay.
So it's nice. It's a nice little row of shops.
kid. What's going on with the TV behind me?
Oh, you want me to turn it off?
It's giving me seizures.
I didn't even really think about it. Just hit the... It's right behind you. It's to your other side. To your left. No, like you have to turn around your chair the other direction. Yeah, like see, it's the very bottom button. It's not even a button. It's just like I'll do it. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Off. But yeah, it's a nice row of shops. So we're going to be sharing space with. I shouldn't even say sharing space. They each have their own storefront, but there's going to be multiple stores. That'll be Grassroots. There'll be the Hemp Hoodlamb store. We'll have our.
Is the Glastronaut happening?
Glastronaut is happening.
Yes, it is.
It is happening. So the new glass gallery out there, which is going to be run by the one and only Blake Hawley.
And it's our place, man.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. I mean, we're going to have, good glass gallery there.
Holy shit, this is really good.
That's really tasty. I haven't tasted it yet. It smelled, the bud smells good, but so that and our studio is underneath all of this. So we have our own entranceway underneath all of these shops. And we're going to have a separate green room. As you walk in, there's a room off to the left that we're going to make the green room or the lounge room for the guests to come in and hang out. There'll be monitors, so they'll be able to see and hear what's going on in the studio, on the show, while they're sitting out, even though that they're not just sitting in the studio with us. Because if you notice, we like...
And we have space. We're going to have, like, sets, I heard? Like, couches. It's going to look like a TV show?
We're going to change up everything. So it's not going to be this radio style anymore. We're going to switch it all up. We're going to have, lavalier mics, and we're all just going to be hanging out, sitting on some sofas, actually having sets, some green screen stuff. So it's going to be really, really professional. We're going to have a control room, and then there's actually a little area with a perfect little door where we can put a little glass window, and that's where I'll be back with the control room right behind Grassroots basement, and we'll be down there getting that room built out, and that'll be where the control room is. And
wait, so you're not going to be on the show anymore?
Well, I will, but I'm not going to be just sitting here. I'm actually going to be making sure that since we're going to have quality video and quality audio at that point, that stuff is going on point. So if you think of like David Letterman, I'm going to be, what's that guy's name? Paul something.
Okay, Paul Schaefer.
I'll be like the guy, like if you're like, oh right kid, and then maybe it'll cut over to me twice a show or something. But I just want to make sure that the listeners are going to get a good show and good audio and good video now that we actually have the capabilities to not have to have like one piece of equipment that plugs into a not Mac.
I got you.
Yeah, but it's a sweet space, man, and I'm really looking forward to working with the guys from Grassroots and having Hoodlamb right next to him because it's like the old lab again, kind of, but and then the space next to it is sweet, so we're gonna try to get that too.
I'm really excited about the Glastronaut.
Cool.
I think it's gonna be like a hub, a staple in Denver, dude.
And then there's like a tea shop next to it, like this like artisanal
I like
tea place. And it's like they were trying to explain it like if you like go and get a craft beer, but you're going to get like a craft tea.
You know what you should do? You should bring the rosin press in there. You should make tea rosin and make it a trend.
Right, like
because that shit could be huge. I've been thinking as I've said before on the show, like you could apply all these great cannabis techniques to different other plants for cooking purposes.
Yeah, I guess I could squeeze some tea if it was still moist enough.
And then you like dilute that probably with hot water or whatever, and then that's how you make tea.
Right. Well, I mean, we're getting there. Everybody's out buying $4,000 presses, and they're great and all, but we're trying to make something happen for just under $1,000 here, and I think we're on the right track for once. So, looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yep. So here we have.
My stomach just grumbled, bro.
I know. I had a Santiago's this morning, but I didn't get it till like
downhill.
10:30, 11, and it was not satisfying.
No, we might have to make some.
We can like get a pizza delivered.
Okay.
And then it'll like show up right in time, and we can eat it.
Hit me with news. Let's do this. I got a bunch. I'm losing it up for a while because the Veg and Bloom guys aren't going to be here for a bit, and
nobody likes to hear me talk.
No, Adam.
And that's
we can talk about the news. Do you want to read? You
I'll
can live read.
I can do a live read of some news.
You come cozy up to me then. Here, sit in Adam's chair.
Okay. All right. Let's make it happen.
From the Denver Post, Denver seeks to bar new players in medical and retail marijuana. Proposal to City Council would extend 2-year moratorium on new entrants for recreational pot licenses and add a ban on new medical licenses. Denver's marijuana regulators are asking the City Council to expand rules that would bar any new players from entering the state's largest market. For 2 years, a city moratorium aimed at controlling industry growth has allowed only existing medical marijuana businesses to open recreational dispensaries, grow houses, or edible manufacturers. That's set to expire January 1st, a prospect that has had eager entrepreneurs and investors lining up. But new proposals submitted Tuesday by Denver's Marijuana Policy Office would extend the moratorium 2 more years, and a newly proposed moratorium would bar any new applicants for medical marijuana business licenses during the same period. The intent, city officials say, is to hit the pause button and give them more time to gauge the impact of the legal marijuana experiment. But the scope of the city's proposal caught some marijuana advocates off guard, including at least one, attorney Christian Cedarberg, who attended a city working group that served as a sounding board. A battle is brewing ahead of a council committee hearing November 24th. Last week, Cedarberg helped form the Responsible Cannabis Policy Alliance, which plans to lobby council members. This simply strikes me as a protectionism for those industry participants that are pushing for this, Cedarberg said. He was a co-author of Amendment 64, which voters passed in 2012 to legalize the sale and use of recreational marijuana. On the other side of the moratorium issue are some long-established industry players, neighborhood advocates wary of more expansion, and activists who opposed legalization. So there's a bunch of douches who think there shouldn't be more dispensaries.
Right. I mean, so they're saying they want to wait and essentially test the waters on cannabis market. Like, heads up, have you seen that fucking we're killing it? Was it Portland?
Have you seen my rosin?
Was it Portland that made what, $11 million?
Yeah.
In their first week? It works. Heads up. There's nothing to test. It fucking works.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, obviously I don't think there should be less stores. I also kind of agree that it's protectionism. I think it's going to be interesting, but I think the one thing that everyone just needs to understand is in this game, you can't whine about it. You just got to know what you're doing when it goes the way you don't want it to.
Right. And that's, that's why, why I love, Jessica, Cheesecake Lady. She's on top of all this stuff for us, so I don't necessarily.
Well, we're supposed to also be on top of it.
But she's so much better at it. So.
I know. She needs us to go show up and do stuff. News. Snoop Dogg brings cannabis product line to Colorado dispensaries.
I'm sorry. You can't not sing that. So he has a new product coming out now?
Celebrity-endorsed pot products are the wave of the future, with Tommy Chong backing a strain. As we know, Dub Chong Star and Willie Nelson lining up private equity funding for a brand to be called Willie's Reserve. But they've got nothing on the Dogfather. Last night at a launch party in Denver, rapper Snoop Dogg announced a new partnership with Live Well Dispensaries. Leafs by Snoop flower, edibles, and concentrates will be available today at all Live Well locations and other select retailers in the next 30 days. I've been at the forefront of the marijuana movement for 20 years or so, Snoop Dogg said. So to see it legal is a beautiful thing. And there's a picture of him in a shirt and tie. Oh, no. Sorry, that's a hoodie. It's just a hoodie. He's got glasses on, though, and he's looking at things. The products, all picked by Snoop, will include 8 strains of flower, wax, and shatter, and an extensive line of edibles. He said he chose the strains himself based on their aroma, taste, effect, and bud structure. The line consists of indica-dominant hybrids Bananas, Cali Kush, Northern Lights, and Purple Kush, as well as sativa-dominant hybrids Blueberry Dream, Lemon Pie, and Tangerine Man, and the high CBD strain 3D CBD. Huh. Leafs by Snoop strains are available for purchase in pre-weighed eighths, quarters, and halves. Concentrates, all strain specific, will be made with those 8 strains. The hash oil infused edibles line will feature 6 different flavors of chocolate bars, as well as fruit chews, fruit drops, and peanut butter candies. Live Well owner John Lord said it was a long process securing Snoop's endorsement, but he was excited by the path they were blazing together. Lord was able to lure Snoop into his Colorado chain before Live Well counterparts in the rapper's native California. This is the first time you've seen something like this, Lord said. Products will be available for both medical patients and recreational customers and will be grown and processed at LiveWell facilities, where they will undoubtedly be... See, the thing about LiveWell is I'm not going to say anything that's an opinion, but I will state that in the news, LiveWell has had their plants quarantined for the use of pesticides.
Which they were relieved from.
They were after... I'm going to only say what is definitely true. Extensive representation.
Right. But they were cleared.
Sure.
So
also,
you either do or do not have illegal pesticides on your plant.
But they definitely did use them. It was just that the levels got to an okay
And how
point.
long ago? So their claim was we've used them so long ago. We kept it on our label just so that we didn't break the law by saying that it's not on our label because they said it lingers around for so long. And then they said, well, you're probably still using it, which they were not. So, yeah, from what I'm assuming and what I am, like you said, we don't want to speak on opinion, but from what I'm hearing, they were cleared. But that's good for them, though. I mean, especially with Snoop's new venture with that Mary Jane thing.
Yeah.
So he's gonna kill it. So I mean, they're gonna do a really good job.
News. I have a bunch of Colorado stuff. If you haven't noticed up first.
Well, I mean, I hope so. That's kind of what's important to us in the States.
Colorado to send extra marijuana revenue to schools. After 2 votes this week, the state is set to start investing extra marijuana tax money in social goods like schools, scholarships, and drug abuse prevention, trying to make good on his promise that legalizing cannabis would benefit all Coloradans. 2/3 voted in favor of Proposition BB, which allowed the state to hold on to all money raised through marijuana taxes after Colorado became the first in the nation to legalize and tax recreational use in 2012. State law mandates that voter-approved taxes, like the one on marijuana, be returned to citizens if revenue is higher than predicted in the first year. This year, the overflow would have given each Coloradan roughly $8. Instead, they voted to let the state... Oh, I got to take a survey. Let the state keep the money. I know that. And it's going to go to all that good stuff.
Oh, what good stuff?
Okay, instead, I'll say it.
Now you just sound like goddamn Foghorn Leghorn.
I do sound
Go ahead. It's all what stuff.
Instead, they voted to let the state hold on to its $66 million, of which $40 million will go to school construction, $2.5 million to drug education, and another $2 million to other youth programs. Meanwhile, Pueblo County, home to the world's largest outdoor marijuana farms, voted to increase growers' taxes to help fund college scholarships, expected to raise $3.5 million. That's awesome.
Right. Okay. So when you say $8 a person, doesn't sound that high. When you say $66 million, sounds a little bit higher. When you're giving $45 million of that to schools, done. Because school
construction. To be fair, it's not hiring teachers.
Right.
It's not really solving the real problems in schools.
I know, but it did though. Because I remember when I was in grade school, we were the first class to be too big, and we had to actually have 2 5th grades and 2 6th grade classes and 2 7th grade classes, and there wasn't room for all this stuff, and that's why they cut out a lot of the stuff that I liked. Like I took music classes and computer classes and all these extracurricular activities, but it's because they don't have room to have just a room full of computers other than the library now. They need to use it for a classroom, so they're just going to cut that class because it's an elective anyway. Or the music room can be used as something else, so they're not going to buy pianos. They're going to buy this. So it's nice to see that they're getting money. Dead air.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be news.
I got my nail wet. Pissed.
So, you probably heard about this one. Fire official, marijuana-related explosions, fire damage house in South Denver.
I did not hear about this one.
This was someone that many of us... I actually don't know the dude personally, but a lot of people we know him. And,
are you going to say his name, or are you just going to...
Nope.
Not going to say it.
Nope. But my understanding is he didn't from his,
so
anything.
With a B.
Nope.
No. Okay.
No. Nope. But his machine was leaky. He wasn't even home, wasn't running it, anything like that. It was just a leaky weld. So I'll go ahead and read this. The Denver Fire Department responded to a house fire and a report of explosions in South Denver late Thursday night. Agents from alcohol, tobacco, and firearms were also on the scene. and officials said there was a butane explosion and it was marijuana related. There were other reports that indicated that there might have been hash oil extraction taking place in the house at 1,300 blocks of South Logan Street. Firefighters quickly extinguished the flames, but the house was severely damaged. Neighbors said they heard bangs, possibly as many as 4 explosions. The front door was blown off the house, along with some bricks. I heard that the house was off the foundation, dude.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Bike knows the guy like real well.
Well, I mean, the videos of those are always crazy, so I don't doubt it.
It's pretty insane. This is a shitty story about it. Fox 31. You should be ashamed of your journalism.
Fox, what did you expect?
Sorry.
Biased fuckers.
Yep. Go ahead. News. Inside the first ever government-organized marijuana symposium, in a twist on conferences geared to the cannabis industry, the inaugural Denver Marijuana Management Symposium provides a chance for policymakers to learn and collaborate on regulating legalized marijuana. The number of conferences in the cannabis industry is almost on par with the ever-expanding music festival scene, with new conferences seemingly appearing on a weekly basis. Deciding on the events worth the investment can be difficult. However, when a friend who works for the city and county of Denver's Office of Marijuana Policy told me about a 2-day symposium the city was holding for 420 situated regulators, I knew I had to attend. Oh, this is a first-person story. I thought it was going to be better than that. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't screen the news.
Not screened.
Not screened.
Wah, wah,
We
wah.
better order that pizza, too, because I can feel myself flagging already.
Jesus Christ. News.
News,
News.
yeah. Medical, hold on, no thanks. Medical marijuana debuts in Illinois, but some patients turned away.
Huh.
Yeah. Bill Wilson can't stand the smell of marijuana. He said he's anti-drug and anti-alcohol, yet there he was Monday buying medical cannabis on the first day it was authorized by Illinois law. After years of taking anti-inflammatory drugs and prescription painkillers that messed up his stomach, the 52-year-old Chicagoan, who has degenerative spinal disease, said he hoped that marijuana would help him reduce his use of such medications. After seeing cannabis help his sister with multiple sclerosis and trying it himself in Colorado, he said he's convinced of its benefits. This is going to be a godsend, he said, holding vials of pot that cost him $180.
Fuck him. No, you can't have it now.
What?
Just for a day, and then you can have it because everybody should be able to have it.
What?
Because you shouldn't be able to be like an outward anti-cannabis person. And
He
then
said
be
he's
the
anti.
fucking,
He doesn't like the smell. That's fine. You don't have to like the smell of your
He just
medicine.
said he's anti the smell of his medicine. He's not anti. I thought you said he's anti-weed and
He
anti-alcohol.
said he's anti-drug and anti-alcohol.
So he never specified. Okay, I take it back.
Right.
I take it back.
He's just not into getting high, is the point.
Right.
So this is going to be a godsend, he said, holding vials of pot that cost him $180. I really believe that. Wilson was among several patients who lined up Monday at EarthMed, a medical marijuana dispensary in Addison, Illinois. It was one of 6 medical pot stores to open statewide, a fraction of the 60 planned sites, and in effect a soft launch of a program that was more than 2 years in the making since lawmakers approved it in 2013. State regulators have authorized only about 3,300 patients, a far cry from the 100,000 plus originally projected. But industry officials remained optimistic that more patients will sign up now that the 4-year pilot program has become a reality. We're thrilled to be giving this medicine to patients, said Gus Kukautsakis, co-owner of EarthMed, which offered 11 strains of marijuana with names such as Grape Godbud and Chemdog at about $20 a gram. The state allows patients to buy up to 2.5 ounces every 2 weeks, which some estimates put it about 10 cigarette-sized joints a day, much more than what many patients said they needed.
Huh.
Huh.
That was boring news.
I'm sorry, that's all I got.
That's all you got.
That's all I got. We're done with news.
Done with news. So can't see us too much backlight from the open door, but I closed the door, so hopefully the backlight is fixed.
Cool.
We don't have that problem anymore.
Good.
Yeah. So what? The Jamaica Cup is going on right now.
Yeah, that is going
I'm
on.
so jealous. I wanted to go. It's just so much money to go.
A lot of people there. A lot of people in Vegas. Everyone's on vacation right now.
Why the fuck?
I'm like, who's working? Nobody's working.
I'm working.
I'm working.
Always working.
That's the way to do it. That's
life.
That's life.
So
Food.
What do you want to do?
Order a pizza or something.
Do you want me to just order a pizza?
Yep.
Nobody really delivers out here. It's a problem.
So, I don't know, man. Figured that out. I'm going to do the show because there's nothing else to carry the show, right? Like, if we don't do the show,
there's not
there's
Adam
nothing
to just sit there. I mean, but if you really think it's just, he's just not there to like
tell stories about Amsterdam.
I remember this one time at band camp.
Oh, it's kind of funny. It's like
I love his stories.
That's an Adam.
Yeah,
that's an Adam. That's how you start an Adam story. So let me hit up these guys and see when they're going to be here. So hopefully our guest will run on down.
You didn't do the. We missed out on the whole. So how was your week, bud?
Oh, so how was your week, bud? Let's do that.
Why don't you start?
Well, no, I started by asking you.
Okay, my week was good.
Thanks.
Got on some new clients, brought in some new orders. I'm going to be picking up some stuff. Today, we're going to have some flower rosin shatter going out on the shelves of Pineapple Exchange. So go check that out. That'll be up.
Wait, I didn't realize we were doing an advertisement for Extracted. I was asking how your week was.
So
okay.
That's my week, man. You know,
okay.
It's not like I don't ask for an advertisement for baby clothes, but
it's true.
Sometimes I get it.
It's true.
You know, because it's part of your week.
That is part of
my week. So it's part of my week, but other than that, it's good. Kilo, we found out that Kilo's face is non-cancerous.
Good. Glad you freaked out about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's scary. He's got a tumor on his face that we have to get removed. That the doctor's like,
fatty tumor
could be cancerous, but it had random colorization in it that they was worried about, and the weird pigments and under the microscope and blah blah blah. But $500 and something later, and 3 weeks of him running, you can see his cone is just duct taped to shit.
Yeah.
So with him, he doesn't cut corners harder now. He just runs through, and the cone bends and breaks. But yeah, after 2 weeks of that, it's cancer free.
So
it's good stuff.
How long has the cone got to stay on?
We're gonna take it off on Friday. It'll be 2 weeks.
You having a party?
No.
You're not inviting a bunch of dogs over?
No, that doesn't go well. That doesn't tend to usually go over the best in my favor, most times. But yeah, no. So it was a good week. How about you? How was your week?
Really good week.
Good.
Yep. I took Farron to school yesterday.
Wait, what?
Took Farron to school yesterday.
To school?
It was like preschool, whatever. Yeah, they sing songs and shit.
Yeah, but do you hang out there? Like,
yeah, it's like...
You only go for like a couple hours.
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
Okay.
Noon.
When does she go to like by herself preschool?
That's like, I think...
like 3?
5.
5?
Maybe 3. I don't know.
I think 5 is kindergarten.
Okay. So yeah, 3 probably next year. Probably next year.
3.5.
She's cool. Whatever. She likes it there.
Because I think 5, and then you figure I think you're 6 in first grade. Probably.
I don't know, buddy. You want to do shout outs, and then these guys are 8 minutes away, so they'll be here any second.
Tell them to pick up a pizza.
We kind of get them on the show, then you'll take care of pizza.
I don't give a shit about the pizza. You're the one bitching about how hungry you are.
Text Britt to order pizza.
She's right upstairs. I'll go up and say, hey, can you order us a
pizza?
Okay,
well, but you got to do that.
I'm going to make it happen. I'm just pulling up shouts right now. Okay. Yeah. Are we going to do it in order this time?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Good. I like that. I like order. I like order.
I mean, I presume the order is, well, we'll see. Big shout out. Tell me when we're ready.
I mean, we're ready.
Is it up? Go.
It will be.
Big shout out to Way to Grow. #1 supplier of grow equipment, grow supply, anything from the big gear, ducting. They have cheaper like duct clamps than they do at Home Depot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have definitely cheaper stuff there. I got a 20-gallon washer there cheaper than I would have gotten it even online.
Oh yeah, you just went to it. What? Yep. So what'd you tell them what you got? How much you paid?
I got a 20-gallon Bubble Magic with the work bag inside, so the 5-gallon work bag. And I ended up spending $300.
How much does that go for online?
It goes for $280 online plus whatever you pay for shipping.
How did you get it so cheap?
Way to Grow and the Adam Dunn Show code, because it was usually like $320 or something like that, and we get 20% off or something like that. So it was like that. I ended up paying $312 with tax or something like that.
Interesting.
So it's not bad.
Go on down to Way to Grow. They're doing their
candy.
Black Friday all month. It's the Black November sale. 35% off Hygrozyme. Worm castings, $10.99 a bag. Botanicare Cocoa Grow plugs, 50 plugs plus the cell tray at $100 a bag. 50 plugs and cell tray, $13.50. The 100 bag, $18.50. Of course, big shout out to Incredibles Edibles. Colorado's #1 edibles. Hopefully soon to be the whole country's #1 edibles. I don't know if they're trying to do that, but their website is still incrediblescolorado.com.
Well, they may have another. I'm sure they're going to be coming up with new things.
I hope so. Have you had pumpkin spice bar yet?
I haven't. I did get my gingerbread spice from Starbucks, but no pumpkin spice
That
yet.
is
So I'm trying to get
unrelated.
I'm trying to get a pumpkin spice bar and put it in my Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their Instagram, all over the place, the Pumpkin Pie Delight bars are now in stores. They look really good, man. It's not a good thing for me to be looking at when I'm hungry. You can check them out at IncrediblesColorado.com. They have, God, with the Pumpkin Pie Delight, how many is that, like 25 bars?
Let's see. No. I think it's more like 14. We have 3, 6, 9, 12 now. So we have 12 bars. I guess they may have gotten rid of a few. The firecracker bar is not on. This isn't listed on here anymore.
Oh, interesting. Yep. Yeah, so it looks like they're retooling the line a little bit. So let's go over the new line.
Right.
It's the Boulder Bar, which is the milk chocolate with toffee, the Affogato, which is chocolate latte, espresso beans, and caramel, cookies and cream, which is white chocolate with chocolate cookies, the Fireberry Bar, which is special sweet dark chocolate, roasted habanero peppers, and real raspberries, the Makiba Bar, which is ancient seeds and grains with agave syrup and coconut oil, Mile High Mint, which is milk chocolate and spearmint, the Mile Higher Mint, which is milk chocolate and peppermint,
which is now 500
milligrams, which is the strongest edible that's available on the market.
And the Mile High Mint is now 210 instead of 200.
Right. And just to go back over the other highlights, Fireberry's 300, Affogato's 300. These are the ones you want. Monkey Bar, which is great, only 100 milligrams, but my favorite in terms of flavor, 2 kinds of chocolate, coconut oil, toasted walnuts, and real bananas. There's a peanut butter Buddha, which is peanut butter, white chocolate, and pretzels. Pumpkin spice is, so the Pumpkin Pie Delight is pumpkin spice and graham crackers at 100 milligrams.
In white chocolate.
Is it? It doesn't say that up here. Cool.
Yeah,
and then, of course, Strawberry Crunches, white chocolate, real strawberries, Flax Krispies, Affogato, as we said, is the vanilla latte, and espresso beans. Check it all out, IncrediblesColorado.com. If you're visiting Colorado, you can get it at a recreational store. You can get it at a medical store.
Yep.
Whatever.
And they're pretty decently priced everywhere. I think they're $21 for 100 milligrams on the rec side, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty affordable. All right, who are we doing next? This is where I don't know the order you go in.
Well, just whoever you would like to do. Usually we do Build the Soil.
Okay, you want to do Build the Soil next? Okay, Build the Soil. Of course, huge shout out to buildthesoil.com. Jeremy will be bringing us next week's episode. This week we're going to go with sort of hydroponic research. Next week we're going to flip it to soil. And then we're going to go back to some breeding stories. I got at least 2 or 3 weeks of really good stuff. We just got put in touch with Breeder Steve. Breeder Steve's going to come on. I have some other people I'm reaching out to. But anyway, back to Build a Soil. Go check them out, buildthesoil.com. Most of you have already. I think most of our listeners grow with Build a Soil.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure of that fact. The great thing about this is what I love about Jeremy, right? So I introduced him to the guys who are coming on today.
Okay.
Told him about some of the stuff they have going on, specifically some of Joe's like silica products, some things like that. And this is the same thing with these guys. It's like some companies are really defensive and they got to put down other people's stuff.
Right.
But Jeremy wants to just really tell me more, and if it's great and he can tell it's great,
promote it and use it.
He adds it to the roster, yeah.
Right.
And that's how Build the Soil works. It's built by growers, It's the consensus of so many discussions online and for years of forums, and then the real world dialogue with his customers now, and that's guided kind of how they've taken the whole thing. So you can check them out right now at buildthesoil.com. Always feel free to mention that you're friends with us, and maybe he'll be friendly to you.
Yeah.
Who do you got next, kid?
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse Genetics. Okay, so you're going in chronological order of adding to the show. Now I understand what you mean.
That's how it happens.
Okay. Yeah, no. It makes sense. It's not insensible.
Boom.
Big shout out to Dark Horse Genetics. You can check them out at darkhorsegenetics.com. The most excited thing on the website is the new hoodlum. Yep. Straight up. They got it right there on the front page. I got one. Ryan has one. Adam has his own hoodlums, obviously.
They're amazing.
Super awesome. They got thumb holes. They're lined with that hemp plastic fur. Feels like real fur. So many secret pockets. I keep finding new ones.
Really?
How many do you think there are?
Well, I mean, if you count the one on the front,
sure, the sunglasses pocket,
and then the one on the inside of that same pocket, that's
sure.
it. That's all I've seen. Unless I feel like there's probably one back here somewhere.
There's 2.
Is there? I'm gonna find them. Don't tell me. I'm gonna find them. But I wasn't even really paying attention because I've had to utilize them, and I'm like, man, this one is getting a little full. I wish I had another.
Yeah, they're really big pockets.
They're awesome. And yeah, you can. He's got
darkhorsegenetics.com. Check out the forums there too. They're getting really active in there. Jason checks him out. He's participating in them. And don't forget, right there is Jaw Farm. Pick up seeds. Bunch of stock. Some really good underground breeders, I believe, are in stock right now. Maybe some obsolete gear.
Yep, some franchise, Pacific Northwest, Ocean Grown,
Nice.
La Plata, Jaws gear, Mosca seeds.
Jaws. You're not going to get it anywhere else. Check it out at jawfarm.com. And, of course, big shout out to Mary's Nutritionals. Elite Cannabis. I actually just directed a family friend to them this week.
I love doing that.
I don't love it because it feels like every week I'm hearing that someone else has cancer. But
Right, but I love having at least be able to
be able
give
to
a place to
give them
have an outlet.
direct direction.
Right.
I think it's amazing. It's I can't even. Yeah, like I can't even. 2 years ago, I would have to say I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do.
Right.
Or in like a rare case, you do what you got to do.
Well,
but
I want to say, since we're on Mary's Nutritionals and they have the Charlotte's Web infused topical gel pen, there are other be careful. There are other people, a certain group of individuals who are selling essentially the same thing on Amazon. That is Charlotte's Web, indeed, but I think it has like 5 milligrams of CBD in it, bro.
Not the same thing.
$50. And unfortunately, these people are in it to make money, and they are going to do so. But just make sure that if you're getting good CBD and you need it anywhere pretty much in America, except for the areas where they can't ship those types of products, which is pretty much just Pittsburgh and maybe a little bit of Florida. But yeah, they have everything from the CBD patches to the CBD compounds, the muscle freezes, the CBD gels, and then they also have maryspetshop.com as well, where you can go on and you can get the puppy pens if you have, if your dog is having any issues, or even I'm sure you could probably use it on a cat too. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. It's probably the same thing.
Probably even a gerbil, maybe even a hamster.
Right. I don't know about a snake. But yeah, any mammaled animal or like rodent.
I don't even know if mammaled is a word.
It is now.
It is now.
It was used on that radio program.
Well mammaled, sir.
Boom. So it's great. She just walked down with perfect timing too. So when she comes back out of the bathroom,
Britt's not in the bathroom. She's right there, man. I'm looking at her.
Oh, you need a dab?
Oh, you need a dab? You want to take a dab on camera?
You want to take a dab on
It's
camera?
like Instagram. Chill out, Ryan. Chill out, Ryan.
Hey, could you maybe order some food?
Oh man, can we do a show that's now?
Yeah, where are your Veg Bloom guys?
They
Veg
said they would
Bloom,
be here
Veg
in
plus
April.
Bloom. I'm just
Well,
gonna say it.
that's the first question. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little contest, I think,
Okay.
because I'm not sure what the correct answer is.
Of what?
Veg and Bloom.
It's Veg plus Bloom.
How do you know?
I just feel like, we'll know right now.
Oh, they're here.
I'm almost positive.
So this contest isn't happening.
I'm almost positive that that's the case. Hey, dogs. It's all right.
Joe's the dog whisperer. Is it just you, buddy?
They do their job. They let me know that people are here without me knowing.
Joe, you're there. It's not just you, is it?
Look at
They're here.
you,
Good.
Fritz.
You guys hear those dogs? If you can,
It's my dogs doing their
if you
job.
can guess the breeds of both of those dogs,
Okay, yeah. If you can guess, I'll send out a pack of extracted bags. I know I keep saying that. I have 2 T-shirts that are supposed to be sent out of my car, but I don't have the
if you
addresses.
can guess the breeds of both of those dogs by their barks, I will personally buy you a pound of Veg and Bloom.
Hey!
That's what I'm saying to you guys. Oh man, the chat room thinks they heard Morgan Freeman. Isn't that funny?
No, well, they didn't. They're wrong.
It's funny though that they think that, right?
It's funny, but it's not. It's not true. Let me go turn this upper light on up here.
Okay, cool. And then the pizza's coming, right? Some kind of food. What's going on, man? Welcome back. Or not welcome back. Good to see you again. Yeah, we need food, bro. I didn't eat, and I'm carrying the whole show. Adam's not here, so need food. I got pizza or something. Need some slack. Nice.
Are we guessing what we got?
What's that?
What do we have on the way?
What? I think we're gonna order pizza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we that didn't happen yet, but let's get everyone mic'd up and introduce our guests. Just you three? Chris is coming. Okay, cool. Do you want to take
I can get another
the
chair.
seat till then?
Oh yeah, there's another chair right back there, Mitch. If you want to grab it, it's actually closer to you.
Well,
for me to be walking.
is he on his way? Like, is he in the parking lot or he's on his way here?
Yeah,
Oh, he's
at the door.
Oh, cool. Let me get you that chair, kid. You want to talk to talk to our friends here?
Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Let's introduce everyone.
Yeah. So we have to introduce the guests.
Yeah,
So,
why don't you do that?
So we were just doing the debate right before you guys got here. Is it veg plus bloom, veg and bloom?
It's veg bloom. Well, I don't know if
It's veg bloom.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
you
your
got
mics,
fucking.
your mics are live.
It's
Yeah.
all
I
of
just
it.
can't hear. It's all.
Oh yeah, you need headphones.
so whatever you like.
You can hear. I just need to take care of
However
that
you
for
like
you.
So it is veg and bloom.
Okay.
Veg plus bloom. Veg plus bloom. It's veg bloom. It's V&B.
So there you go. There's your answer. There's your answer.
There he is, the man.
So yeah, where did the? I mean, like. Yeah, we can. We don't have another mic, so.
Do you have another headphone set?
No. He's nearest Ryan. Close this so we don't have glare.
I'll show
Dead
you.
air. Dead air.
I think this is. You hear me?
Look at this.
I don't think this
Oh, we
mic is
can.
on.
Mitch, you see
You
this?
should be live. Go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Check.
That's pretty cool. Oh, it's right. The camera's behind you. Boom.
The old
Chris,
school.
you sit here. You sit here.
All right, cool. We're live. Sorry about that, guys. Things get crazy when guests show up mid-show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll come and do that.
Everyone's finding out what T-shirts they have on. Okay, so we just established that it is. So who says what? Do you all say veg bloom, or some of you say
veg and bloom.
veg and bloom?
People say veg plus bloom. Online, it's more like a veg plus bloom thing.
Sure.
We're trying to coin more of a veg bloom.
Okay. How do you pronounce it? Veg and bloom.
to slur it a little bit.
Push
So-
the headset on there.
Veg bloom. So you just make it like a slash. Cool. I don't actually. Ryan, I'm not sure this mic's.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying
Live,
to.
cool.
It should be. I'm just trying to figure out why it's not.
I agree. It should be.
No,
Glad we agree. So, Joe, you pulling up a chair? Cool.
You guys want to scoot down a little?
We're psyched to have you guys in studio. We thank you for coming all the way out here. You obviously been taking a lot of meetings around with
Exactly. I'll take that.
pro grows around the area. I mean, it as we said last week, there's not really anything else that's as universally reliable, just simple for a professional mass production type setting where you're really growing flowers like a factory. Just make sure all the camera angles and things are all good. Do we have mics? Do we have levels? All right, let's.
Chris, is your mic working?
Chris,
Check.
no, I'm not hearing
It
it.
must just be a bad cord. Let me change out the cord for you.
Sure. Or Chris, if you want to switch seats with Joe for now, and then we'll also let Ryan adjust that cord because you're really kind of our star speaker here, star
Did you
guest.
get the email that he sent you?
Nope. Didn't check my email since before I got on the show. Did you just send it?
Yeah, we should have had it to you a little bit earlier. That's
Cool. I'll check at my email right now, or you can just say whatever you emailed me. That's what, unless it's like a secret. I'll check my email right now and see if I have any secret email. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us your background and how you came to do this, man.
Sure, my name is Chris LaRose. I founded Hydroponic Research in 2010, and before that, a grower and just a botanist, plant physiologist. It's pretty much what my life's been about for a good 20 plus years.
And did you start with cannabis? Was that your first plant that you really started growing, or?
It all started with my dad crushing my first seedlings. He found some seedlings in the backyard. I was probably about 15, 16, and he made me watch him step on my plants. But that was my first experience. But yeah, it really, cannabis has really set off a deep passion in me for, just the craft behind flowers and, bringing out all of the aromatics and really refining natural products. That's what got me into it.
And so, kind of how was that learning process for you? Where did you begin? How did you learn what you did? And where do you feel you've ended up?
Yeah, so the learning process is filled with a lot of failures, a lot of experimentation, a lot of trying things that, people have told you won't work, and, figuring that stuff out for yourself. So a lot of hard knocks. But accumulatively over the years, those failures, those types of experiences where things didn't go well, or what ultimately led me to understanding what makes plants really happy and what a really healthy plant looks like. And that's a good place to start for people, just keeping a plant healthy and not worrying about like pushing out an extra trichome, at the end of the flowering process.
So what are you looking for when you're looking for a healthy plant specifically?
I like to follow my nose. I mean, there's the visual. There's obviously the praying leaves, the depth of green. There's that visual, but there's also the aromatics. You can smell the stems. You can smell a vegging room of healthy plants. I mean,
Sure.
you can almost smell some of those subtle, terpenes, if you will.
They're starting to develop in there, yeah.
And so, yep.
That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that smell. Obviously, you want the coloration to be uniform and the structure to be healthy. Praying leaves, happy.
Absolutely. Vigorous.
So it sounds like we still don't have Ryan. It sounds like we still don't have Joe's mic on.
Well, when it gets plugged in, it'll be on.
Cool, awesome. Let's lead. Oh, good. You guys are just showing up in the feed now, so it should get exciting. Let's lead back to that. So when you were first growing, how did you start growing? What method were you using?
Back then we were primarily running 400-watt sodiums.
If I can get you closer to the mic too, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we were running 400-watt sodiums in basements and other odd places on properties, wherever we could put a light that somebody. And I'm talking, these are like 2-3 light operations. I mean, these are tiny little operations, but big enough to get in a lot of trouble.
And what were you feeding at the time?
We went everything. We did everything from GH to ionic to. We ran all of the multi-part bottle stuff. I tried everything on the market at the time.
Too.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And I also had a lot of experience in nursery production, so I was already working with raw materials, raw inputs, just generic ag stuff.
So when you talk about that stuff, you're talking about like nutrient salts and working with sort of pure NPK?
Yeah, I'm talking about things that are made specifically just for agriculture,
Okay.
which generally are less refined and can be higher in toxins, heavy metals, things like that.
Sure.
Just all-purpose for conventional farming materials.
Okay. And so how did that lead you to developing your own product?
Well, I just never really felt like I was getting the most out of the plant. And so I really wanted to maximize that. I wanted to see, more from my plants. I wanted to see how happy and healthy I could get plants. And that's just kind of how I just started working things in, taking things out. It's just a passive process of trial and error.
And where did that lead you really? What did you find you were missing, sort of that you had to fill in the gaps on type thing?
I would say the biggest epiphany for me was, how do I combine all of these things and get them to function in harmony in one product to make it easy for my resi dosers, my guys that were responsible for changing reservoirs, to do a good job without missing something, forgetting, the CalMag, or forgetting maybe adding the B twice. I wanted to remove all of those possibilities. And so I wanted to consolidate this knowledge into a product that I could give to my dose, our reservoirs. And so with that sort of as a backdrop, I definitely want to talk about the product, but as we talked about the other day, I think the most important thing is for everyone to have the background and be able to appreciate it, right? Because if you don't understand it, you can't appreciate how great it is. So I want to start with kind of discussing what is, we're talking about an ideal one-part grow formulation, right? So what needs to be in that? What needs to be in that? What does that plant need? And what does that do for the plant? Yeah, so, first of all, you need sufficient.
We're getting a lot of static, Ryan. I don't know.
I'm trying to get Joe's mic to work, because for some reason
Okay, cool. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me try to. I was on the thought and
Yeah.
static. Just let's see here. So, just ask the question one more time.
Sure, absolutely. Like, when you're starting, and this is probably going to be a long answer, you're approaching, I'm going to try to put everything I need to grow a plant into one thing.
Right. Okay.
So that starts by identifying what you need to grow the plant.
Right.
So,
And so the plant needs the elements and quantities sufficient for growth. I mean, that's the first.
So we're talking about, obviously everyone knows NPK, so nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium.
Right.
But, we did our whole 3-hour episode on what nitrogen does in the plant, for the plant, etc.
Gotcha.
But let's talk more about the other, when you look at a bottle, it has an NPK number on it, but that's not the only thing that's in there, right?
Right. And a lot of that has to do with regulation, the states, what they allow you to guarantee, what they don't. Each state has its own set of standards. And so in order to meet all of the state's requirements, companies will dumb down the labels and just put minimums on them so that they don't have any sort of hang up when they're registering the product.
So in that context, what's in there? You know, what's all the other stuff? So there's nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus.
Absolutely, yeah. So we also use a lot of colloidal chemistry in the products.
What does that mean?
It means that we coat small particles of different types of earth clays with certain cations and anions, and that basically helps deliver those ions with a carbon molecule, so that you get a carbon-rich environment for nutrient exchange where you just have everything available at every phase of growth. So we use not only chelates, but we microencapsulate things. We use some proteins. We use a lot of organic sources of nitrogen. So you talked about nitrogen for 3 hours. You probably went over all the different types of nitrogen that are available. And so we like to hit things on multiple levels. You know, we're not just providing nitrate nitrogen, which is important because it's immediately available. Ammonium nitrate is immediately available, ammonium nitrogen. We also provide protein-based nitrogen. We have other components that contain organic forms of nitrogen that also carry along with them phytohormone properties, things that increase hormone levels in the plant naturally. I mean, these are naturally, they're extracted from natural sources and refined. So we're not adding anything. We're just refining out what we want.
Right. So you're not synthesizing anything.
Yeah, no. There are reactive minerals in the product, and you're going to find reactive minerals in everything out there. So it's, yeah. When I say make reactive minerals, I mean like calcium nitrate and your monopotassium phosphate, things like that of that nature.
So when you're talking about starting to mix this in, I mean, how did you go about determining sort of the one-size-fits-all diet for the plant? You know, on the one hand, you have to figure out how to formulate it, but it's like, how do you figure out just one thing for every plant?
Trial and error. I mean, and I'll, you know, straight up, there are very finicky strains out there, and those strains are going to require, you know, specific attention, you know, to maybe it's magnesium, maybe it needs a higher amount of manganese in flower to really produce its true terpene profile. But, you know, a one-size-fits-all is, can I keep this plant happy all the way through its life so that it produces an abundance of flowers that have that, you know, genetically intact flavor and aroma. My plants don't all smell the same. Right. My finished flowers don't all, you know, burn like a certain, you know, they don't have a same sweet smell. Sure. And so the one-size-fits-all is basically, how do I keep this plant fundamentally happy from beginning to end? And that's what our formula through, you know, trial and error that's where we got to a formula that works for 9 out of 10 strains, beginning to end, rooted cut to finished flower, and produces exceptional quality.
So without divulging the secret sauce, right? Like what goes into, not what goes into the formula, but you know, what's in there? What do the numbers look like? You know?
Well, the A513, the NPK ratio is A513, and it is, you know, obviously our percentages exceed that. That's a minimum. Right. It's required by law to state a minimum of what's in there. And so going off of that, A513, we've also added in all kinds of, again, organic sources of calcium, of nitrogen.
What would be like examples of some of those organic sources of calcium, for example?
You can go with some of the we use non-protein amino acids, but there's also amino acids. There's protein.
We do have a chat room question. So, can you explain proteins in nutrients a little more?
Well, proteins are built of amino acids. And so you're not only increasing the organic nitrogen level that's present because, you know, it's built of there's a lot of organic nitrogen in there, but you also have all of these other building blocks, you know, nucleotides, things that are going to really help with cell structure and growth. And so you get a lot of organic nitrogen, and you also get an increase in uptake of calcium and some of the other macros with proteins and things that are organic nitrogen based. So,
and you had talked before about, you know, how you use the colloidal elements to increase cation exchange. Right. Can you just go over for the chat room? We have a lot of new listeners, it looks like today. You know, the basics of cation exchange, what you're trying to accomplish there.
Well, increasing ion exchange is pretty much it's it's manipulating the limiting factor on feed and how the plant is able to uptake the nutrient. And so a lot of people use humic sources of or humic organic acids to help with that process. But we use and I feel like we're unique in this. We use a biopolymer complex that essentially increases the evaporation, or it decreases the evaporation rate between waterings to preserve a certain amount of vapor around the roots so that the plants continue to feed for a longer period between irrigations. That's another, key component in our all phase. And it gets very specific though. Biopolymer is a fairly broad, family.
What does that term generally mean? What does it include?
It means it's a polymer that's produced by nature.
By a plant or something.
Yeah. By nature.
And so as a polymer, it's like a thread, like a strand of some sort.
It's a long chain. Yeah. It's a long chain, and it basically it holds and transfers ions. So you have this lattice. It's almost a lattice, like a structure to deliver nutrients
like
to the
a highway
plant.
for nutrients.
It's like an ATM machine for nutrients. Yeah.
So and then to go to, I guess to cover again for some new listeners, how ions and nutrients relate.
I mean, pH is an important consideration when you're talking about, availability of certain ions. So if you have, that can be really broad. So when you say, go back to the
sure, like
question.
how ions and nutrients relate. For example, some nutrients are cations, meaning they have a positive charge,
Sure.
and then some elements are anions, meaning they have the negative charge, and that's the basic of how the plant sort of grabs them, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the charge they have, and so the plant, depending on that charge, as the plant uptakes those elements, that's going to affect pH. It's going to affect a lot of other growth parameters. So ionic chemistry is between positives and negatives. It's a balance. You want to keep obviously your pH in a certain range. So if you introduce too many ammoniacal nitrogen ions, you're going to see your pH, probably go, or nitrate, it's going to go up really fast. And with ammonium and sulfate, you're going to see it drop. So finding a balance of those ions to keep the pH stable between feedings, because your pH changes quite a bit between irrigations. Use a balance of those cations and anions to keep the pH in the right place and maintain that osmotic response to the medium.
And by having sort of these biopolymer chains in there too, you're now giving like a hard wire almost, as opposed to the Wi-Fi type way to pass the ions.
Yeah, and it does a lot. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. I mean, it also helps prevent translocation of heavy metals, which is another key. We talking about that today on the show.
Sure, talk about the topic.
And so the biopolymers we're working with, one of the original thoughts and concerns was all fertilizers, especially organic fertilizers, have heavy metals in them. Organic fertilizers, bat guanos, things of that nature have the highest levels of heavy metals in them. And those heavy metals, cannabis is a scavenging plant. It pulls a lot of stuff. It's used in wastewater treatment. It's been used before in remedying soils, pulling toxins out of soils.
Sure.
Yeah, and so it's a concern. I mean, we don't want our customers to be growing plants that are taking up, heavy metals and then consuming those plants. So the biopolymer, the research originally began as a water conservation / heavy metal remediation project. And so through doing just lots of research and reading through lots of university studies, found a very solid foundation for heavy metal remedying. And so biopolymers will help prevent those heavy metals from being translocated into the plant. And that's...
So that they sort of bind them up?
Yeah. They make them... they bind them up and they just keep them from being available as they would if they were just freely floating around in the medium.
So, speaking of medium, how does that come into play with something like veg and bloom, veg plus bloom.
Yeah.
Or also, how does it work as a general principle? Like, how does your medium come into this equation if you're trying to think about it?
It's a huge consideration. I mean, there are growers out there that are allergic to cocoa, right? I didn't know.
I didn't know about that either.
I
Till
didn't-
Jason said
Yesterday
something.
we learned that.
Yeah, and so knowing that, but also just preference. So, I mean, some guys grow up in on peat moss because they're closer to the north.
Sure.
I mean, cocoa's, I don't know. I'd say it's within the last 10 years it's really taken off. But the different medias will require a different formula. We have different formulas of Veg Plus Bloom.
And why does it require that? Like, what's different about them on sort of that chemical level?
Well, as I mentioned, if you have a high percentage of, for example, nitrate in your formula, your pH is going to swing up real high. So adjusting levels of things like nitrate.
And that'll matter even in the medium, not just the feed.
Yeah, the medium influences that as well. So like peat moss is acidic, cocoa is neutral. And so you have to take that all into consideration. That's why our dirty formula and peat moss Pro Mix is a win-win, because by the time that pH rises, according to the formulation, it's in the perfect range every time.
So one question from the chat room. For being a one-part nutrient, how does one prevent too much nitrogen at the end of flower? And I think as a general kind of question, address that misconception, because I know this from organics that the plant's not going to use it if it doesn't need it.
Sure, and that's a fairly old, that's an old debate that's been gone over many times. Nitrogen is crucial. It is a catalyst for metabolism, and so to strip away all your nitrogen is essentially stripping away the availability of other nutrients, because the plant can't metabolize without nitrogen. So keeping some nitrogen in the plant is important, but it is important to decrease ECE, start to allow the plant to convert starches and sugars and really, use up its own reserves and, move away from nitrogen. But that can all be done passively over the last couple of weeks of your crop cycle.
So to do that, you sort of lower the total feed EC,
you increase your water ratio. So when you say lower EC, you're
right, just diluting.
Yeah,
it, right?
You're diluting it down, introducing more water into the plant, getting the plant to really start to move what's in its roots up to the tops, and increase your bricks.
And then there's plus size, which is the late flower additive plus size. So, which we have.
And what does that have in it, and why do you use it?
Plus size is the late flower additive.
So it's not so that's an addition. It's sort of like a
Veg Plus Bloom is a 1 part base.
Right.
Base nutrient.
Yeah.
There's a late flower additive, at which point you would decrease the Veg Plus Bloom feeding and then bring in the late flower.
I see, and that would be sort of
plus size.
retooled specifically for late
in place
flower.
of like our MKP. When I was using it, we just replaced the MKP and just started using the plus size instead.
Okay, so for late flower.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than, monopotassium phosphate is actually a minor component in that product. We use a phosphite, which is a phosphorus acid reacted type of phosphate, and it's much more easily translocated within the plant, and it also triggers a SAR response where the plant is it starts reacting by increased immunity. It wants to protect itself, so it produces more oils, more secondary metabolites. So it's a lot more than just a phosphate potassium bump.
What else are you throwing in there at the end?
We use some extracts of giant sea kelp. So we have some isolated Z18, kinetin, some cytokinins that are just kind of isolated away from kelp.
Sure, and you those are in the normal 1 part and the
those
the
are
boost,
there's an abundance of those in the plus size.
Okay, I see. It's especially high concentration.
Yeah, and it's you're basically on a hormonal level. You're influencing the hormone balance of the plant to focus on reproduction. You're not just PK is important, but it's just more food.
Right.
Whereas hormones are really what determine how the plant uses that food. And so these hormones tell the plant to use that food in a certain proportion that puts a focus on reproduction.
And that's the giant sea kelp.
Yeah. Well, there's actually we use extracts from 4 different kelp varieties, so it's not. Most people are just using Norway kelp, just Northern European kelp, and so we use kelp from different places depending on what is going to be richer in zeatin or kinetin, and we have a very rigorous process of sourcing materials. So the first thing we look at is low heavy metal content, and the second thing we look at is bioactivity and just actual purity.
Sure.
And so going through multiple sources allows us to really refine it into a more broad spectrum, full spectrum, if you will.
And then, so in addition to that, is there anything else that you guys are putting in that late flower product?
We are putting in some saponin extracts. They're extracted from yucca and some other arid plant materials. And so we use saponins in that product. We do have a soluble chitin that we work with. It's also in our plus size or plus life product. We have basically a.
And guys, while we're getting the shot all dressed up here, if I could encourage you all to rotate 45 degrees, sort of like,
just a little bit, though.
then everyone will be on camera and we'll all look fancy pantsy. There we go. Sorry.
You can slide these anyway. You guys need to.
Yeah. Cool. I apologize for that.
Yeah,
So
no worries.
you have a water soluble chitin, you said.
Yeah, we have we use kinase in the product, a water soluble kinase, and it's also considered a biopolymer. Going back to biopolymers.
So, but chitinase is an enzyme too, right? ACE means enzyme.
Yeah,
So it breaks down chitin.
Yeah, and so there's cellulase. There's a bunch of different enzymes in the product to assist with the breakdown of cellulose in the media.
And do these enzymes end up in the plant at all, or they're just sort of like doing double duty in the root zone, taking care of things?
Yeah, it's primarily. I mean, the plant's producing its own enzymes.
Right.
But yeah, it helps with preparation and delivery of the elements. You know, it bounds them to carbon. Carbon's like a lot of people are just running synthetic nutrients, but not having any carbon in your mix it creates an imbalance. You know, you really need that as a buffer. Is Patrick's favorite word, buffer.
That's the word of the trip.
Word of the trip.
Can you talk about how that system works of binding and how that plays out practically, or can you kind of describe that model?
Yeah, I mean, in the natural world, microflora, in order to digest, you know, they produce enzymes. That's how they break down stuff around them to feed. And so enzymes are just nature's way of, reducing, elements down into absorbable forms. So you're basically preparing the food for being absorbed. You're making it more easily absorbed. And it also checks and balances. I mean, if you have an accumulation of decaying matter and there's nothing to break it down that you're providing enzymes, then something else is going to come in and do the job, and you don't want that stuff.
Right.
It's going to start eating your roots.
Right. So and that's kind of where I was leading it. So the enzymes are going to be more selective. They're not going to do any harm to your plant.
They're as far as what we're providing in our products, I mean, enzymes are completely beneficial. There's nothing about them that's, there's no negative,
Sure. So what else are you adding to the mix? Either in that late stage product or in the normal one part?
I'm really proud of the fulvics that we source, and the people that I've worked with that have been pioneers in the fulvic acid market. I mean, some of these guys have done just so much research on not just how it affects animals, but how fulvics affect people.
Sure.
And so just finding the lowest molecular weight fulvic available out there, that's a really staple component in all of the veg bloom formulas. It's in the RO Soft. It's in our oldest formulas. It's in our newer formulas. And it really flips the switch on a lot of plants. You just don't see the same potential if you don't have that fulvic there. And it's not just about having a bunch of fulvic in your product. It's about having a specific amount and the right fulvic, because fulvic isn't really a regulated, standardized, guaranteeable mineral. It's just sort of like, some states recognize it, some don't.
Right,
So,
and it's a weird technical thing where the government that makes the rules doesn't know.
Yeah,
the nuance.
exactly. There's silica in the product. All our veg bloom formulas have standard, as a standard component, have silica, and it's in a trace amount. I mean, it's the amount that shows the most improvement at a given rate. So it's like you can always add more silica
Sure.
to your mix, but there is silica already in the product.
How important let's talk about the molecular weight in the fulvic, why that's important, what difference that makes for the plant.
So the lower the molecular weight, the easier it is for something to, be pulled through a membrane, for example. So
the smaller it is, right?
Yeah, and so it's going to it's just easy for the plant to absorb.
Sure.
That's it.
And so the plant can uptake the fulvic and use it as how does the plant use fulvic in its growth?
It's sort of a synergistic compound. It it doesn't really stay, intact as fulvic acid.
Okay.
And it's sort of like it increases uptake.
Okay.
It also increases carbon content, which is really important.
And what else do we have? We had a chat room question.
Sure.
Chat room says, I don't know. Ask him about yield. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I mean, I just took some photos of some buds that were grown with just RO soft and plus size that are, I mean, the size of this container. I mean, these tops were like, it's just like one after the next, like freaking train cars. And I mean, this canopy, you could lay on this canopy. Like, this canopy was so solid that, I don't know, I was tempted to crawl up on there and just like have a picnic. I mean, it was that tough. These were huge buds, and this guy was using the bare minimum. I mean, RL Soft and plus size and two.
No, so not even using the one part?
RL Soft is our one part.
Oh, he's the one
it's
part.
a veg. It's one of the veg bloom formulas.
I see.
Yeah, RL Soft, Tap Hard, HD, and Dirty are all veg and bloom formulas for specific water types and media types.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense. So the chat room wants to know if it's a dry product or a liquid. Of course, it is a powder. And let's talk about why it's smarter to have a powdered nutrient than all that water in the bottle.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a backwards, market as far as what stores offer hydroponic growers, and what's really, really good for growers is simplicity and things that work. And the industry has just really done a good job of, teaching people to use multiple bottles. And so powders allow you to put more together in a given space without those things contaminating each other and bonding. And then so therefore we can deliver a pure source of nutrition to each grower without having all these different bottles. And part of the ability that makes us, that gives us the ability to do that is our packaging and all of our refining processes. I mean, we have very strict control over things like humidity, temperature. We also shatter down all of our minerals into certain particle sizes. So as they dissolve, they interact with each other more synergistically. So dry is definitely the way to go for plant food.
And not to mention, you don't have to pay the freight for all that water that you have at your house anyway.
Exactly.
Or your facility or whatever. So I guess that's the questions that they were looking for on yield. I don't know. I was really curious to know more about, what makes a plant yield versus not yield in terms of what sort of nutritional keys there are to yield.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it goes back to plant health, general plant health. If the plant's happy from beginning to end, your yield is going to be good.
Right.
If you want to enhance yield, there are chemically ways to induce heavier reproductive responses. But overall, if somebody can't get their plant happy in the first couple weeks of flowering, they're never going to see the yield.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, everything coming up to that third and fourth week is just so influential on how hard it's going to stack. How much those calyx are going to explode out of those nodes. I mean, you have to be on point the whole process. You can't think that during your first couple weeks of flower, you're going to start mandating with CalMag and trying to keep your plants happy. They need to be happy in the first place. And so that's where base nutrition was our focus for the first several years. We only sold a base because, I mean, it really comes down to if your plant's happy beginning to end, you're going to yield. You're going to be happy with the results. The plants are going to do what you want them to do.
Got a chat room question here. They'd love to hear about the Plus Life product. Also, what you recommend for foliar in the system.
So we just came out with a foliar spray, and this is the result of looking at all of the chemistry behind silicic acid and all of these other products that contain silicic acid, and coupling it with some, again, going back to the kelp-extracted hormones and some specific amino acids that are, primarily what you find in sap, like plant sap.
Sure.
And so the silicic acid aspect of the product is something that's been kind of like, it's a hot topic right now in the industry.
Largely thanks to the man to your left here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and as a component of the foliar, it's great because it allows the plant to build healthier cells. So there's 2% calcium in push foliar. That calcium isn't just like it's not just 2% calcium; it's hyper available. Like the plant, it just sucks it right in.
And what is it? A special form of calcium? Is it processed in some way to make it so, or?
It's 2% calcium. I mean, it's just calcium, and it's part of the stabilization of silicic acid. In a solution, I mean, part of that process includes, using different types of chlorides and things. And so calcium, as one of those components, is a really important, it's important to have. It also balances out the chemistry that's happening on the leaf tissue. You don't want to have like a bunch of other, ions floating around burning the tissue. So calcium is always beneficial.
So just to clarify, this is a newly released product. It's called Push Foliar that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so Push is obviously going to be high in the silicic acid, the calcium. Anything else special in there?
I would say without getting into the gray area.
Yeah, exactly. We want to keep the secrets.
Yeah, that's
secrets.
it. And again, you got to spray it to believe it. I mean, this stuff you see results within 2 days.
And what sort of results are we talking about? Let's go into some of that.
Thicker, more robust growth. Just tip growth that's surging. I mean, you could see the plant moving. Materials through it. It's drinking. It's the girth. Overall larger leaves.
Is that more vascular, like more metabolic?
Yeah, increases metabolism big time.
So let's go back. The other question was about Plus Life. Tell us about that.
Plus Life is a probiotic. It's basically manufactured from soil microorganisms. So it's populations of different beneficials that have been sourced and selected for resistance to fertilizer. So we're not just like grabbing a bunch of species of Bacillus and Trichoderma and Glomus and putting them into a bottle. I'm working with a doctor who's selecting strains of bacteria and fungi that are resistant to fertilizer salts and other, ionic-rich mixtures. And so these strains are more likely to survive in the average grow rooms scenario, where you have other products that are just cultured out microorganisms that haven't been selected for those reasons.
Sure, so they die as soon as they hit the real world.
And it's chelated. It's basically everything's microencapsulated in amino acids, which is a huge differential. Great White, for example, I believe uses like a talc insolubles
as their carrier.
Yeah, and so using amino acids has a ton of other benefits, but it also provides a food source for the beneficials that allows them to grow into healthier populations.
And can you tell us? Is it okay to tell us the beneficials that you include?
There's a whole list of them on the container.
Okay, you don't have one. I didn't know if you had one there. Cool.
Yeah, no, I don't. But again, the diversity was selected for resistance to fertilizer salts and for robust enzyme production, because enzymes are one of the main things you're going after with beneficial populations.
Sure. And do you know about how many species you include?
I want to say there's 5 or 6 ecto and endo
mycorrhizal species.
Yeah, and then there's I think about 10 or 12 different types of microbials.
Cool.
But I don't have those all memorized.
No, that's all good.
And that's why I'm working with a doctor on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my focus is on,
know your lane. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can get him in here.
That would be really cool. Even if he calls in, we could be calling. Not today, but on a follow-up show. That sounds really cool. So, you want to bring on some of the other guys? You want to keep talking? We got time.
I know Zach's got a lot on his mind.
Do you?
At times, yeah. Well, everybody's like, I just got a text from Ryan. He was here last week, and he's like, you better get on that dab, dude. And I'm like, you don't want to see me drooling, sleeping, running.
It won't, though. It's rosin. It's not BHO.
Dude,
all right, but before we all get dabbed out, there's pizza coming, or that's not happening?
No, do you want me to order you pizza right now? Not
please.
many people are in Gunbarrel. Remember,
dude, I'll order pizza.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, he's
where do you get
it? You don't really deliver out here because we're like
Get blackjack.
You do not want to eat blackjack.
We can get pizza delivered in the hills of Humboldt. You guys can't get pizza delivered in the suburbs.
You can, but like there's like one place, and our pizza places suck anyway. So then you have to choose some blackjack. I'm on it.
All right, thanks. I'm glad.
But anybody who wants to dab is more than welcome to help himself. There's some rosin. It's not butane.
So okay, cool. Apparently we covered the lingering question. Caddy 420. I know every strain is different, but what's the highest yield per 1,000 watt light that you've seen from your guys' products? You guys, anyone who wants to
I
answer?
have to say, yesterday we I don't want to name drop too much, but
Name drop? No, we love name drop.
This gentleman's getting over 3 per light.
What? Come on, you got to name drop who that is. Is it someone I know?
I don't know. I don't think he knows.
Commercial or
Yeah, for sure.
Commercial.
He's commercial as it gets.
So he's doing 3 pounds of light on a commercial scale. How many lights are we talking about?
He has 12 Gavita rooms, 12 Gavita lamps,
Multiple.
and Nanolux. Consistently with certain strains, yeah.
So 12 Gavitas per room or 12 rooms?
Right.
12 Gavitas per room. How many of these rooms?
He's got 6, and he's adding 10 more right now.
And he's consistently breaking.
Yeah, very like a machine.
In Denver?
Yeah.
What? Wow.
I mean, we've got
3?
guys right up
I've
the
never
road.
even heard.
We got
3.
guys right up the road right here at the farm.
No,
Yeah, in Boulder.
dude,
In
it's
Boulder.
all you can look. If you knew who it was, you could look it up. It's all recorded.
Sure. Well, you should write down for me who it is because I bet I know him.
But that's that's a tried and true system that he's been.
Sure. And what?
A lot of canopy management too, and the beauty of Veg Bloom is getting
Oh, wow.
away from spending so much time mixing one res. And then
I think that's one of the great things that you've talked about that I think is something to note. It's not that you're going to do less work. It's that you're going to do more of the
More real
important
work. More real work.
Yeah, and less of like mixing water and carrying buckets.
Yeah. Well, getting into that, we just left the farm, and these guys love our products. They use it pretty much exclusively within their all their facilities, and they are top notch. I mean, these are some of the best facilities that we've seen in the state. These guys are on point, and now they use and utilize that time that they were spending mixing nutrients on the canopy, and you can tell. It shows.
When I was using it, and again, I don't like to speak about where I was using it, but when I was using it, I did save so much time, man. It took me a minute and a half to mix my reservoir.
And on a commercial scale, these guys are, they're running 10,000 square feet, 10,000 square foot operations with 2 to 3 guys.
Because it just saves so much of that labor.
I mean, that's part of the. I mean,
there's more in that formula than that. Sure. All right, Joe. Now you said 3 pounds of light. People are asking for an Instagram name or something for proof.
Yeah.
Say it. What's the Instagram name?
We'll be
Do it.
at Veg Bloom.
Do you have the picture of
reposting
the?
some
Yeah.
I got a picture of it.
I'll repost them now. Go to at Veg Bloom.
So just one word: VEGBLOOM.
That's correct. I'll start putting some up right now.
Spring Hill Jack asked, do you add the product dry to the soil mix ever? It is water soluble and you mix it up before each feed to answer his question specifically, but ever tried amending soil with it? Does that work? It's a crazy question. Spring Hill?
So I have a fig tree in my backyard in San Diego, and this last year I had some extra dirty formula. I decided to just kind of throw out on the ground around this tree. I also have some subtropical citrus, those that doesn't grow here, but limes, lemons, and these trees I was just watering with a garden hose dirty into the ground. These trees produce the most incredible. Zach had some of the limes.
Just sort of top dressed with it.
Yeah, I just threw it
out
down.
there.
I mean, broadcasted it and these trees produce the most incredible. These figs were exploding in sugar. Like they would pop, and there was
Just sugar oozing
just
out.
sugar just falling out of it. It was amazing. And so I've used it as a outdoor on actual fruiting trees. So it would work easily as a great amendment.
But obviously it's highly concentrated, right?
Highly concentrated, yeah.
So you want to do that with caution, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
Cool. So what do you guys want to talk about? You answered my basic questions. You answered some chat room questions. You guys are in town checking out the pro grow scene here and kind of preaching the gospel of what you've got going on. What's the biggest, sort of most drastic change you've been able to do for a garden without telling us who it is? What's the situation where you stepped in and said, "Oh my God, this is crazy. Just switch to this," and the results sort of to that. Joe, do you have any of those?
Either upgrading lights or sealing all the surfaces.
I mean, I'm talking about where you switched them onto the Veg Bloom from
The water.
like
So-
the biggest change that they made.
yeah.
Yesterday with up in Netherlands.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that our buddy Stacy who's chilling in the chat room here?
Yeah.
That's our boy.
Yeah.
Stacy.
Stacy's a good bud of ours. He's been posting about it all week. He's been
Harvest
upset.
House is going to have some
He's
really
on another
nice
level
flowers.
up there.
Yeah.
Really
Beautiful.
nice flowers.
Beautiful flowers.
We'll actually put some up. You'll see some on our IG. There's a mention of them
Yeah,
on
he
there.
did an
It's-
amazing job.
I mean, if you can get better than that, then we need to be seeing you too.
Yeah, we
Sure.
need to hang out. I want to smoke your flowers.
And so he's doing it all with
Yep,
the veg bloom?
dirty
Yeah.
formula.
nice.
Nice. I think the big thing is having things lined up and having someone that you can count on to run the garden. I mean, there's a lot riding on a business like that. It's all you grow your own and sell it out front. That's all on you, and it takes some of those variables out of the picture and lower the amount of labor. And I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this a long time.
Yep.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
And just really able to focus on more labor-intensive things, and you catch more when you're more focused. You mix a resin under 5 minutes and let it circulate for maybe 10, come back to it 15 minutes, pH it, and go. It's
No
crazy.
measuring,
There's
not
no
back and
you
forth and back.
You have to make sure the powders are dissolved fully. I mean, there are one or two things that are sometimes if you can just have it clumped together and drop it, it's not going to mix right. You gotta have an even
You want to
mixing.
spread it in there, right?
Really, the worst you'll find is anything settling on the bottom, and that's easy to fix. I mean, I've used even like a broomstick in a 55-gallon drum, just scrape the bottom and move it around a little bit and have a circulation pump. But air stones tend to cause too much agitation, so we just we recommend a circulation pump.
Cool.
One last thing I want to.
I'd like to have Chris talk a little bit about some of the testing that is recommended, water analysis,
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. That's a good topic.
and
Yeah.
even plant tissue testing, which we think is going to be the future for diagnosing issues and dialing in, optimizing the feed schedule.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think depending on the size of the operation, I think it's really important to have some metrics on exactly what your plants, where they are, and what they need, or what they might need more of, and the only way to do that is look at things on an elemental level. And so we offer tissue and water analysis. A lot of people do, but what we do is we offer feedback with that analysis to really provide the grower with the right information to dial in their crop. And, if someone really wants to grow out a specific pheno of something, and that pheno is, recessive in ways, and it just doesn't have that vigor, it can be dialed in to a point, but genetically you still have that cap on you. But analysis is really important. It's not necessary if you're killing it. And I mean, we have a lot of customers that don't do analysis and they just crush it. They use 5.5 grams to a gallon. They do their resis, set and forget, and are doing great, succeeding. No failures. It's all good. And keeping it simple is really important. And when you start bringing analysis in, it can get pretty complicated. And so unless the size and scope of the job, really, there's an efficiency factor there.
And that sort of analysis is you're actually like taking the leaf material and analyzing what it's made up of chemically, so you can tell what it has enough of, right?
Yeah, you're basically taking everything away from all of the cellulose, all of the vegetal matter. You're separating that from the elements, and you're able to see how much calcium, how much nitrogen, how much potassium, all these things are there, and quantify them. And then depending on those amounts, you can take a leaf that's deficient, and you can run those baseline, numbers against a deficient leaf and start seeing where you're maybe missing something.
Right. So here's a question that I know you guys are going to love answering. Joe, I know you love answering this one. Have you done a commercial cost comparison versus a liquid?
Yes, absolutely. It's not that hard to do. Okay, so you want to do some retail math for them, just to put it into perspective?
I have a calculator. I can do it. Just say some numbers for me.
So what's 100 pounds of HD cost? Is that right? It's like 1,700.
Yeah, depending on the different formulas. Obviously, some of the formulas.
We'll call it
have some-
1,700
Yeah,
then.
just 1,700.
Just ballpark.
There you go.
Okay, so that's how much?
If you guys have any relationship with us, you're not going to pay retail.
Sure.
So
But how much is that?
with me?
How
I
much
want
you get for
everybody
1,700? How
to
many
be,
pounds?
Just $1,700. That's 100 pounds.
100 pounds, and that's how many gallons? That's
All right,
what it
let's
comes
look
down
at
to,
this.
right?
Just average of 5 grams, or do you want to do 5.5?
5. I mean, some
call it
people use
5.
4. So
We'll
So
call
let's do
it
it
5
5.
grams per gallon,
5 on average.
and then you have 100 pounds, right?
Yep.
And that is $1,700. So 5 grams per gallon. Of course, we go 454s, and we'll divide it by 5, so it should be a good average still. So you get 90.8 gallons per pound. So times 100 pounds, that's 9,080 gallons for $1,700 for 9,080 gallons, right? Is that math all sounding right
Yeah.
to you guys?
It's good. Yeah, it's
So
pretty spot on there.
so if we go $1,700 divided by 9,080, you're paying about 18.7 cents per gallon, right? Okay, per gallon. And then let's do a comparison to any commercial. Does anyone know off the top of their head price per gallon?
Let's talk about
I know that
House and Garden.
Sure, House and Garden's a good one.
even just General Hydro, the Flora line, it's $500
For how much?
to get the probably even a little bit more than 500 to get the micro, the bloom, and the grow. So
Yeah, but how many gallons can you make with that?
it's 5 gallons or 6.
Yeah, but you
gallons, I should
dilute
say.
that in water. You're not using that full strength.
Right, but for a 6-gallon container,
No, I understand that, buddy.
You're spending.
But we can't do a
How many
comparison on.
gallons does that mix to?
Yeah, how many gallons of fertilizer is
You're
that?
using 10 mils a gallon, so you just have to convert that
Yeah,
over,
so
which you can do. Just
I can.
haven't done
I
it.
can. I haven't done it yet.
we stopped at a commercial space yesterday that had the numbers at I believe $1.50 a gallon for the liquid line they were using, which I won't
Mixed,
name.
yeah, mixed. It was $1.70, $1.70,
per gallon,
Per
and
gallon.
then I think for us he was at 43 cents.
38.
38 with the bloom enhancer, the plus size, and with also the Benny's plus life.
So we have a grow store owner in the chat room who's dying to get a hold of you guys. How can we get? How can? What's the best way to get in
Let's
touch?
say who?
Grow store owner.
You have a grocery store owner, okay? Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like one of the things I want to talk about. It's, we figure at times, this is where this is going to come into play. We've been reaching out to hydro stores for a while, and they, people they even wanting to pick us up because of the fact that, wow, you just found out that 100 pounds gets you 9,000 gallons for 18 cents a gallon. And to a hydro store, that doesn't make sense. But, we do have stores that early on recognized that the benefit to the grower was most important, and that not selling a full liquid line of 10 bottles was going to benefit them. Not the grower themselves, but the store level, because obviously they want to make as much money as they can. They're a business. They're trying to operate. So, yeah, I mean, as long as people know that we deal directly with the consumer. That's our forte. We want to make sure that these guys are getting exactly what they need, having their answers in the way that they should have them, and not having a runaround because somebody else in the hydro store wants to sell another product.
We do have a lot of great hydro stores that recognize the value of the product and are supporting us really well. And he can email me, Patrick@solsticegardensupply.com.
Patrick@solsticegardensupply.com. And don't forget, Joe's here, so we got to give shout out to themotherplant.com.
For
You
sure.
can still get in there for that limited release with the code ADS demo if you want to go into the store, and then it'll pop up with your coupon code to get a discount on everything you're buying there. People are asking how it compares. I mean, Rodcraft asked how it compares to Nectar for the Gods. Oh my God, Rod, you're really mixing 13 bottles, dude. Like, you're going to have so much time. You could take up a new hobby. Do you know how to tap dance, Rod? You'd have time to tap dance.
Well, I'll tell you right now that we're actually pretty good friends with those guys. They're
They're great guys. They sponsored our show for a season,
Nick Al's a really great guy, and Scott's great. They recognize our products because when you have a great product, you
Recognize
recognize
real for sure.
So we talk all the time, and actually we refer business back and forth to each other because sometimes people just don't want to do that. They want to have a completely organic line, and that's something that I recommend when I'm out. So. I mean, again, you can't compare an apple to an orange right now. It's you're comparing a liquid to a powder. So, if you want to talk about results and quality,
I think that's what they're talking about. Is in terms of results, quality,
Flavor of end product. That's something Chris wanted to.
Yeah, talk to me about
about.
flavor. Have you guys done by any chance?
We're not just talking about yield,
Sure.
or even visual appearance,
which is the only thing you're going to see on the internet. Flavor doesn't translate on
flavor,
Instagram.
odor.
Have you guys done
developed for those
any sort of head-to-head terpene analysis of the same strains run with your stuff or with some generic crap?
I haven't. In the state of California, that wouldn't be something that we could do. But I mean, Joe right here is he's been appreciating the flavors of Veg and Bloom. Really,
Absolutely.
the focus is of quality of growth, and quality of growth includes those classic signature aromatics. So one strain's got, strains taste incredibly different strain to strain. A lot of guys' stuff smells the same, tastes the same.
Sure.
Doesn't burn well. I like Joe's description of it. Coats, Veg and Bloom grown product really has so much flavor it coats your mouth. You really get those.
It lingers too. The flavors are pronounced there. That's part of it. I think a lot of times you are putting stuff into your plant that you may or may not be able to get out completely.
That kind of hits on one of the things that I love about Veg and Bloom is that since you're building it from scratch, you're not, I got these 3 parts and mixing them, but you're very carefully and very deliberately including everything. There's no garbage hanging out in there.
Exactly. So flavor and aroma, those were my primary focuses developing the product. Yield was second. But I really wanted, at that time, I was, growing a lot, and my focus was on having the best of the best. I really wanted to produce, just out-of-this-world product. And so that's what really governed the forming of the product as a whole.
That was the number one priority in sort of the development process, was aromas. And I'll tell you, it's no slack on resin either. Some of the frostiest stuff that you see coming down, all Veg Bloom grown.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Joe, you obviously can fully support that.
I think the advantage with no-till, for example, some of the best-looking, greasiest plants I've ever seen. And that's just a culmination of all that time and the beneficials breaking down everything in the plant's rhizosphere. That you can't. It's very difficult to duplicate that.
But
so
Veg Bloom is comparable.
That's what I'm saying. The sources are clean for everything, and we're breaking it down, or it's already broken down and delivering it right to the plant. So that's the difference. That's the only way I could compare the flavor.
There's also the base. I don't know if this has been mentioned to the new people out there, but everything is water quality specific.
Yeah, talk about how much difference the water can, because it really all starts with the water, right? Like that can make all the difference in the world, and that's why you need different formulas.
Well, yeah, the birthplace is some of the worst water you can find in the country, and Chris has had to deal with that while developing this product, so it's a big part of it.
So we have a tap hard formula. It's formulated for alkaline water and water up to 300, 350 milligrams of alkalinity, which is really hard water. Water quality can change though, and it can differ in its sodium content, which is a really.
Can we talk about hard and soft water? What the difference is? Just kind of like
residual. It's residual carbonate, like bicarbonates, carbonates, calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate are the basis for most alkalinity. But soft water is also, it just has a lower electroconductivity. It's just it has lower amounts of alkalinity when you say soft water.
Sure. And
then tap or hard water just has a really high level of alkalinity. You're more likely to see a high sulfate content, sodium content. Sodium is really the thing to worry about. So if you're having problems with a well or water that's sourced from an industrial area, for example, industrial areas, you get different water qualities. But even in Boulder, I think I've heard everywhere from 90 to 300 parts. Pretty wide variance. But overall, Colorado's water is like pure compared to what we do. And in Southern California, our water is garbage.
Where it starts up at the mountains.
Yeah.
So it just picks up all kinds of shit by the time it gets to you.
Of course.
So that was part of the beginning of developing my own formula. Actually, was working with tap water. I really wanted to be able to use the tap water. We were going through so much water that it was like, oh man, do we really want to filter all this off? And living in Southern California, drought is a serious business. Like I've seen avocado groves disappear in the last 15 years of my life. I've seen a lot of groves disappear in Southern California because we just don't have the water. So again, biopolymers, not only in the product to reduce accumulation of heavy metals in the plant material, but also to decrease water usage. You can save up to 20% of your water per crop. That was one of my focuses was conservation in agricultural application, because water is really not. There's not going to be any more water. It's like we have what we have, and so to make the most out of it,
Sure, absolutely. So let's see if chat room's got any questions coming in for us. No, looks like they're all kind of on their own side conversations here. Cool. We got about 45 minutes, an hour left with you guys. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Pepperoni, onions.
Yeah, what up, pizza?
Maybe some sun-dried tomatoes, all organic.
Working on it. All right, working hard.
No, it's all good, dude.
Working hard.
Dabbing hard.
Joe.
That's pretty much my job here.
Dabbing?
Well,
Joe.
that and just making sure that the mics work.
Yeah.
So guys, come see us at the Emerald Cup. We'll be at the Emerald Cup this year.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. You guys have a booth out there.
Yeah, we're going to have a booth. We'll be with Charcore. We do a lot of work with those guys. With their.
Is that one of your recommended mediums?
Yeah, I mean, we really like it. It works really well.
Sure.
Chris recently got some product on there, had some testing, and saw some favorable results with it. Quite a few guys use our product and really like it together. They've seen some additional growth and some things come out in their flowers that they like. So that's
it's a solid product. I've seen a lot of cocoa over the years, and it's solid. It's consistent. The bags don't slump. When you buy a slumpy bag of cocoa, it's like you're setting yourself up for overwatering. Yeah. It's consistent. The way they lay the bags out, you can tell that somebody's, people are doing it with care. It's a good product.
Nice. And Joe, it looks like I have some news for you on the mother plant. It's going to be news to you and everyone else. It looks like you guys will be able to take credit cards within 24 hours. So it's not going to be. I know some of the chat room people have been asking, when they'll be able to actually just buy stuff because they don't want to deal with having to pay for it after the fact. Yeah. So that's Veg and Bloom. That's Charcore. Hell, it's the OSA that they're talking about in the chat room right now too.
Right on.
So yeah, that's going to be available. Sounds like within 24 hours, probably when most of you guys are listening to this replay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's that news just
last
came
week
to me.
We went over a lot of this stuff about Veg and Bloom, and a lot of good questions came in last week too. How can we throw all these things in one part? And I think there's a much more elaborate answer than what I had for that. But
we kind of addressed that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
I was going to ask how you got convinced over, because that's how you're growing now, and you've tried pretty much everything.
Yeah, for sure. I have tried a lot of things. Definitely not everything. I don't think there's much difference though from the stuff I've tried and the stuff that's out there to try. And I'm always open-minded, but it's just really hard to go back after you've experienced how simple it is, and really the end product is what sold me. That's the only way I can really judge, is when I've cured it correctly, trimmed it correctly, and smoke it when it's ready. It's
just better bud.
Consistency, density, yield is definitely a point to be made, but all of that, I feel kind of duped because I've used so many different products, and they're all in water. They're all in shit tons of water. So it's just it's not necessary. It's obvious.
We got a chat question here. How important is sulfur in the nutrient mix, and do you guys supply any sources of sulfur?
Yeah, we do. I mean, sulfur is a very important secondary.
What does it do for the plant?
Sulfur is just it's a ingredient in life. It's part of the construction of cells and of metabolism regulation within the plant. Sulfur is also an important component in the production of secondary metabolites. So it helps.
Those would be terpenes.
Yeah, it helps increase. Those essential oils. So sulfur is really important. I mean, it's a basic element, so that's.
And so you guys do. How many forms of sulfur do you include?
We just use sulfates. I mean, there are some like thiosulfates and things that we use in other products, but in the base, it's just sulfates. Thiosulfates are a little more technical, but
I'm buying our pizza right now.
Sweet.
Hopefully it makes it by the end of the show. We usually make the pizza guy come in and take dabs. That's how it works.
That's his tip.
Sometimes they say no, and then you don't get a tip. You get it. I'll give you money and dabs, but if you don't take the dabs, I'm not going to give you the money. Come on. Chat room question: are there any preservatives in the product? That's one of the questions in either Veg Bloom or in bottled, mixed bottled nutrients.
Well, in the push, there is some chloride, and so that's a preservative. But preservative just means it's something that inhibits like microbial activity.
And so, to that end, the question was: will that in your medium at any point inhibit beneficials?
No. By the time it like a foliar, by the time the plant absorbs it or whatever evaporates off, there's just no interaction.
It's not going to get down there.
There's no interaction with the soil chemistry at all.
But in another product, that could happen.
It could happen in another product if there were the wrong preservatives or salts in the bottle. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we hear a lot of people using certain liquid lines that.
Oh, you say names on this show, otherwise you can't talk. We're pretty strict.
Liquid lines would need preservatives over a dry form like ours. The way we package it, we purge it, and when we package it, so there's no chance of anything like even having a chance. But in liquids,
I've had nasty shit culture in bottles in the garage, especially like when it's those like bottled organics, which is that weird netherworld of a bunch of stuff. Well, it's like a pretty ideal culture medium if it gets to the right temperature.
Yeah. If the argument is, are you sterilizing your medium with
the question is,
yeah, then why don't you test look at your runoff? Just give your plant some bennies and then look at the runoff. The bennies will be in the runoff.
Sure, but
if they're alive, you'll be able to see them
in a scope. Yeah. I got
so in liquid lines, it's more likely that they're going to use preservatives because liquids will coagulate and flocculate, and you'll have all these, different types of wild yeasts and bacteria and things that can grow in there. So they're more likely to use.
That stuff will get in there because just every time you open the bottle, right? Like it's
not only that, but in the manufacturing processes,
sure.
Like I don't know how tight some of these other people keep their.
Question here is, how well does it flush out in the final product?
Like with anything, there's an artist's interaction at this point. Some people like to flush to a fade. Other people just think it's important to lower your EC and get them to pale out. I personally like to fade them out.
That comes down to the growers' designs at the end.
It comes down to their experience. That's one thing that really differentiates one grower from the other is how they finish.
Let me see when I was using it though. What I liked about the flush was I was able to tell that the plants were actually utilizing what I was putting in, because when I would read, before you would even get ready to start doing your flush, when I would read my ppms to see where I was starting at, they were already lower than where I would think that they would usually be at when I was using bottled nutrients or when I was using really anything else. So we didn't even have to flush as much because I feel like there wasn't as much left over in the cocoa. There was
just sitting around. The plant took it all up.
Plants, right? So it made our flushing, and like you said, I think we did the, not much of a fade. It was more of a rushed flush over a 6-day period. But it was super simple, and it worked out really, really great with that because there was nothing left. It was our ppms were already super low, and we didn't really have to worry about spending 2 weeks, 3 weeks trying to flush out whatever the hell was remaining in some people's plants these days. So it was really nice. I liked it a lot for that aspect for sure. It saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, and so just real quick, because I know that people are listening on the show and they want to maybe get some insight, maybe something that might help their methodology. But I think that. I think to make notations of like the maturation time that is required per strain, and then having that given metric of 56 days or whatever, finding the proper interval of like lowering EC and increasing water percentages, which is flush, same thing.
Right,
but
same thing.
Finding the window, if you will, of when to start that process so that the plants still swell and get adequate nutrition, but you get that fade and you get that really dense sugar that's not saturated with these actively dividing chlorophyll cells that make things taste vegetal and grassy and hay-like, And so it's like there's a science to it. There's also an art. You got to take the time to look at that maturation time on that strain, and then maybe 10 days before that maturation time, start playing around with trimming the EC back. I mean,
and so you don't just cut a cold turkey; you sort of like taper it down, yeah.
Yeah, and to take notes. I mean, all of these processes can be, what do you call it? Duplicated. It's just a matter of knowing where you were when you did it.
Sure.
Some people don't even know how many days it takes for them to finish their strains. It's important.
The guy who taught me said, "No, you wait till it's ready.
Just follow your nose." I have that approach with like just laid back casual.
Sure.
I just like to grow.
And that's when environment.
But when you get into metrics, business,
you got to put it on a calendar.
Yeah, and so it's important too, just to develop perspective to be able to see this is what 10 days of the plant's life looked like.
Yep.
Aussie
Dude Grows asks, do you pH the solution after it's mixed?
Depends on the water source.
Okay.
So our Aerosoft will pH in 0 ppm water at 5.6. Our Dirty is going to come in around 6. HD is going to come in around 5.8. So it depends on the amount of alkalinity. Again, going back to alkalinity,
right?
The fertilizers are acid by nature. They're going to neutralize some of the alkalinity. So it depends on how much is there.
So typically, your gardeners are adjusting afterwards.
Yeah. So you mix up a res.
Yeah, and then you up or down.
And then what you do is let it mix for like 10 minutes, and then it'll arrive at its. All these things are reacting in the reservoir.
Sure.
Let those reactions take place, and then drop it down maybe 2 points below where you want your pH, because by the time it rises in the media, it's going to rise probably 3 to 5 points.
So people are going to put it in at like fours.
Oh no! I mean, like if you're going to do the 5.2 thing or 5.3, your target's really like 5.6. So I'm saying, yeah. So it also, but going back to your water, if you have 200 ppms of alkalinity, you're going to need twice as much pH down as if you had 100 ppm.
Sure.
So it's having some knowledge of your water alkalinity is huge for a grower. Huge. If you don't have a pH meter, can you just mix a tablespoon of vegetable bloom in 5 gallons of water and grow a good garden? Yes. But if you want to grow a great garden, get a pH meter and really start to take notes.
Do you guys recommend a specific pH up or down, or doesn't really matter?
As
far as compatibility.
I like the Mad Farmer stuff because there's no dyes, and they have multiple forms of acid and things in there. It's a good product and well priced. And they're friends of mine.
Yeah, they're local.
Yeah.
Joe?
Hey.
You have pH up or down you use?
I also like the Mad Farmer.
Any other secret tricks?
Before that, I used Advanced, just the concentrated stuff. It's pretty strong.
It's pretty strong. Sounds good. You got any other tricks with this stuff, man? I mean, you're the master of like secret formulas and finding all the best. Obviously,
well,
these guys.
I know guys that have been using Veg and Bloom, and they just cut it in half. Did like a 3 gram, 2.5 gram a gallon every other day flush without straight water at all, and they did great. We just tried it.
Nice.
And I feel like it still flushed out well. It was
nobody noticed
that it wasn't particularly harsh or anything of that sort. Great. Well, that's great to know. To speak to that flush point.
That's the big reason I'm trying to take it to the next level on a commercial scale, because the potential for the end product. I just have so much confidence in that. I know that I can push these different inputs, and if there's ever an issue, I can balance it out, and it's not going to affect my end product by doing that.
Right on. So for you guys, what's the future look like? Have you developed all you plan on developing, or you're going to be there's more?
I don't think it'll ever end. Chris is kind of mad scientist guy, and he never stops. We kind of got to hit the brakes with him and slow him down a little bit and pace it out. We have quite a few products in the pipes.
And from what I hear, an app too, it looks like?
Yeah, we do have, Chris is developing an app for, it's like a technical support.
It's essentially, it's like a journal. So it's, I had all these tools when I developed our products, and when I was really, really like working day to day, grinding on plant physiology, I had some charts, some basic tools I used, and I want to make those available for other people to do research with, so that they can also use our product better, but also amplify their own perspective on the plant's life, and it's really all about perspective, you know.
That's really cool. So what are some of the things you're looking for that you're tracking? These are like the variables you're tracking essentially.
Yeah. So you're going to go to our website, and you're basically going to put in your water type,
which is hydroponic
research.
Oh yeah, let's drop the hell out of that.
Yeah. .com.
Yeah. Hydroponic-research.com.
I'm typing it in the chat room too. -research.com.
Yeah.
Cool. There we go.
Yeah, it's hydroponic, not hydroponics, just so people know. It's singular. So this app is going to be like a journal that allows you to incorporate metrics to see your progress. You'll be able to put in target yield. You'll be able to put in your water quality, and it'll give you suggestions based on your scenario of how to use our product line, as well as give you tools to grow as an individual. You know, maybe a journal of EC and pH, because a lot of guys write shit down on paper, they lose it. They use Notepad on their phone to do this stuff, and then they never go back and read through it.
Right.
And so this is an interactive place for us that we're trying to create for people to use our product and also learn and develop as growers. Because I mean, this all started as research, and here we are. We have done the research, we have results, and we're offering that to people. But that's going to continue. You know, we're going to continue. I'm researching some amazing things right now that increase chlorophyll production so that you can grow in lower light conditions. We're focusing on, organics and refining organics, and really looking at what can we do to take, OMRI and all these other types of, organizing the idea of organic and make something that's complies with that, but meets the requirements we have for performance.
That's actually, I mean, if you could give me something that was truly organic but was a powder, which I believe can be done.
It's already done.
You guys have done it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of playing it right. I mean, we're really busy. We have a great team at Hydroponic Research. We all bounce off of each other. We all bounce ideas back and forth. The creative flow within our company is profound. We all have a great appreciation for each other, and that's I think the key element is having that love and respect among the people you're working with. That's what creates big things, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm even looking into some electrical engineering stuff. Cool. Better ways to interact with plants on that level.
Very interesting, like electroculture type stuff.
Applying metrics and just injecting and using different types of sensors to determine like the levels of something, and then introducing at that point another parameter, like you can start with basics water.
Sure.
Smart Bee makes a great moisture sensor. That's an awesome tool. But just having better ways to not only record data, but I'm not talking about shocking my plants.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. So you're talking about just using electrical components, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. And question here, obviously, is do you guys have worldwide distribution? It's powder. You can ship it everywhere, right?
We will very soon.
Cool.
And we've sold. I mean, over the years, I've sold. Product all over the place. I'm not going to start naming countries because I don't have to start paying tariffs and stuff. But I'm just messing around. But it's just like, we've had people from far away places.
So people can some of our we have for some reason a disproportionate number of Europeans in the chat room.
We actually, at this time in the game, where are you guys at on that? You said you're just.
We're exploring European distribution as an overall thing to ship an order to Europe. For us right now, I don't think we can do that, but maybe Mother Plant can do that.
Yeah, we totally can. Just you can email me at joe@themotherplant.com, or you can even email info@themotherplant.com, Ryan@themotherplant.com, or go to our website and ask for more information. That'll be up soon too. So the promotion though is ADS demo to get in on that first window that pops up. So
definitely go follow him on Instagram too, because I'm looking at that picture that you just posted, and I'm looking at his page.
So it's at VegBloom on Instagram.
VegBloom on Instagram, and they just posted a picture of I'm assuming one of the grows that they were talking about that the guys.
That's a 3 pound light, 3 pounds per light. Let me see that.
It was that kosher. Was that the 3 pounder? I mean, it looks like it.
Here, I'll show you the 3 pounder.
Oh, okay.
It's not on Instagram.
I'm not sure if that particular one was. I think it might have been.
I gotcha.
I was just in there taking pictures, like
Yeah.
Go to my
It's pretty
photos.
pretty hefty though.
Right, that one photo with the trellis, I'm sure it's the one that you have clicked on, I can guarantee it. But yeah, I mean, this guy's killing it. So
And he's just running
There you go.
2 parts. Oh wow, yeah.
I mean, it's just.
I'm convinced.
I mean, these buds are like just collapsing all over themselves.
But they're clean and
Yeah.
they're dense and
yeah,
there's no foxtailing or anything like that. It's all
they're gorgeous.
very uniform.
Yeah,
and
very
everything-
uniform growth for sure.
Everything is managed. There's nothing there that the plant doesn't need.
Yeah. And if you look in
very
the,
efficient.
if you look in the background of that picture, you can see some monsters in the background.
Here's some perps. This guy was crushing. I mean, it was like jelly on a stick.
Yeah,
Like just grape jelly on a
and I
stick.
mean the cool thing is looking across the strains. Each plant has its own morphology, its own shape, etc. But the size and the stature is pretty consistent.
Some more than others. But
Do you guys find a lot of variation one way or another between strains, between indica sativa, anything like that, in terms of how you're feeding them?
No, you're not going to see a whole. I mean, there are a bunch of like length of flowering issues where you have 12 weeks of flower on a sativa dominant, but things are so polyhybrid at this point. I mean,
That was actually from one of our out of countryers who was messing with the landrace stuff.
one of our clients is they had a university map genomes of a wide array of sativa varieties, and they said that they're all very closely related.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and look,
So-
I mean, the latest is, of course, that sativa's been extinct forever. We're all just smoking cannabis afghanica and narrow leaf and broadleaf drug varieties of it. So it's that I don't think there's that much difference in how they feed. But I'm just even talking in terms of the stature. Does a tall, skinny plant eat differently than a short, fat plant,
well, and you can use
or
not
or
only.
long and short flower?
I mean, are we talking about indoor cultivation or outdoors?
Yeah, indoors mostly. The guys are
Yeah,
talking
I mean,
about.
indoors temperature is almost as important as the nutritional feed as far as controlling stretch. You can always drop your temp a little bit and stretch to reduce. I mean, there's a lot of ways to change morphology without the chemistry. There.
Sure.
Yeah, so, but no, I would again. You find your target EC per strain, and all strains are going to differ. It's going to be somewhere between 1.4 and 2.0, and then you just rock that for that strain. And most, I would say 99.9% of what people are going to encounter as a grower are going to be polyhybrids. So no defined landrace. I know there's companies out there that have landrace stuff, but I mean almost everything you see is polyhybrid.
Yeah,
So-
definitely here in the States for sure. I think that's the great thing. Just thinking of each strain, like find that target EC for it, know that target EC for it. Maybe if you run it at one number this time, run it a number higher on some next time, and a number lower next time. Next to it, and see which one's the best. You know what I mean? Find the sweet spot, and once you know it, it's going to be consistent.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
What's the highest you said? 2.0 was the highest EC that you've run it, that you've seen strains happy with?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, water quality. If your water quality is poor, you have to feed higher. So you're going to see you have a compounding of you have more alkalinity to begin with, and then you have to feed heavier to get around all that alkalinity. So your total ppms, I've seen guys upwards of between 1,500 and 2,000 ppms at a 0.5 scale.
Sure,
So-
that's actually really interesting. So if you have a higher ppm going in from your water, you got to add more ppm to have the ratio you're looking for in your mix. Is that essentially it?
Yeah, I mean, what's there is essentially interference. And so in 0 ppm water, it's so reactive that everything's just boom, hyper available. And you have to be careful because you can burn, and but with alkalinity alkalinity is kind of a good thing to have. I think it's a good thing to have 60 to 90 in your water. That's good water. That's like perfect grower water. In 0 ppm water, it's very acidic when you first drop the oxides in there. You start getting, it just drops down to like 4.8. Our formulas all go up from there, but yeah. So water quality.
No, that's actually a really good point. You know, I think a lot of people sort of think, oh, I need a filter. Let me go RO and try to drop it down to 0 ppm. But that's
not
we
better.
say for organics it's too low. But you're even saying for what you get, hydroponic research themselves says too low.
Yeah, I mean, like 50 to 60 is like 60. I just say 60 is perfect.
So tall boy filtration is generally what you're recommending, I guess.
Well, dude, in San Diego, I mean, even
That
with
won't
an
do the
RO
job.
filter, no, dude. I mean, our water after a tall boy is still like in the 300
Jesus.
something parts per million. It's crazy.
Wow.
So just get your ppms down. Cut your water with 0 ppm water. Don't use 0 ppm
Oh,
water.
cut your water with 0 ppm.
Yeah,
That's
if
really
you
smart.
have like 100 parts and you want to bring it down to 60, then just get
Sure.
some RO and add 4 parts per 6, and bring your ppms down to start.
That's real smart. The chat room's all checking out the Instagram now. They're loving it.
Sweet.
Is that kosher? Is that in the garden that's getting the 3-light, or is that a different garden?
That's it. What I just showed you is Alien.
Okay.
And Alien Dog is something that I worked on, worked with a bit in Southern California. And so I saw that strain. I knew what it was. But, I mean, that thing was just piled up, and that's on the Veg Bloom HD, the one I showed you. And he's just using Veg Bloom HD and our plus size. And
What's the difference between
And
HD?
he's using
formula-
OSA too.
Oh, there you go. Joe has to drop the OSA.
was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. You
No,
gotta-
that's cool. But he also uses the push
Oh,
foliar.
so that was out for that. That's
Yeah.
seems to definitely be pushing it.
This is the farm, dude. This is what they're doing right there.
And the farm. Oh, I thought they were all DeVito. Oh, it sounds like pizza's here. That's really exciting. Wow, I'm really impressed
I mean, dude,
because
that's just our RO soft formula and tuber, nothing else. Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, the farm is for folks not around here. The farm's a local dispensary. Obviously, grow their own.
Thefarmco.com.
They're known to kind of really focus a little more on their marketing than on their growing. But
Oh man,
damn,
they're crushing it.
They're
These guys,
really
damn.
impressed.
no, man,
God
these,
damn,
these guys' rooms are. I mean, I've been through a lot of rooms. They're proper. These guys know what they're doing. They're good.
And the kind of data they're collecting is impressive.
sure.
Every data point.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to separate themselves and evolve.
And
That's
they've got-
crazy. Spring Hill Jack said, "Pizza Dude is taking a while." Literally the second the Pizza Dude rang the doorbell. Nuts! Wow, these are heavy pizzas, kid.
It's just cheesy bread and a pizza. That's all.
Yeah, the Farmco, great place, great people over there. Looks like they take care of their people really well. Ran into an old friend there today.
That's
good
cool.
company.
So if you hate us eating on the show, you're gonna have to deal with it this one time. But we'll try not to eat in the mics because you got a bunch of hungry dudes here.
I smell onions.
Yeah. Kid, you want to do shout outs? You haven't done much talking this show. Go ahead. Take it
you
up.
want me to
Yep.
do the shout outs? So I have to do the shout outs. I have to prepare the screen. All right, let me get.
What are
just banter while I prepare the screens ahead of time so I can just switch them over. So there's no lag time in my.
Okay, so shout outs are like our sponsor shout outs.
Oh,
Those are
cool.
our regular
Who
sponsors.
do I know here?
Let the kid take care of paying the bills because he's not taking care of the thrills. You got to take care of the bills. That's the policy, kid. Bills are thrills, as you know.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Tomato sauce on that one.
Oh, yeah, that's just
I got
cheesy
tomato
bread.
sauce for you. Yeah. Here you go.
Bread.
Tomato sauce, cheesy bread. Get down. We're sponsored by Blackjack Pizza. No, we paid for this pizza, unfortunately.
And didn't do dabs with them.
Yeah. No dab for the driver.
He probably would have taken a dab.
You look like the
He
type.
Like the dab type.
So who's you guys' sponsors?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, kid. Who's our sponsors?
Again, do you want to do the reads and let me do it?
I'm
the way we
curious.
just do it, or let me finish pulling up our sponsors so I don't have to have any dead air when I'm doing the reads. That's why you can just banter, but you're too busy eating.
pizza. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Too busy eating the banter.
Uh-huh.
Well, now everyone's eating,
just
so I
double
hear all
dip,
the
dude.
eating.
Oh man.
You know,
I'm not eating.
you're eating. Don't eat in the mic, Joe. Chat room, you guys have any more questions for these guys about either their products or about anything, the principles they've talked about, or just random grow questions? It sounds like these guys know a whole lot. And it's always cool to have guests in studio, not just on the phone, that we can sort of pick brains. You ready to go?
We are ready to go.
Take it off.
All right, so big shouts to our sponsor, Way to Grow. They are currently doing the Black November sale, which is 35% off of Hydrozyme and bag of worm castings, $10.99. I believe there's some other discounts that are going to be going along with the Black Friday sale as well. So you will
Black
have to
November
stop in.
sale.
Black November sale.
I believe
Yes,
they
Black Friday.
got some Veg Bloom on the shelf there at Way to Grow.
I think they do as well. Yeah, no, they definitely do carry the Veg Plus Bloom. They have 7?
That's awesome.
locations?
Go in there and use the Adam Dunn Show code and get it cheap.
Right.
That's
Amazon
the trick right
code
now.
Is the way to go because you're going to get 20-25% off of your total order, which is big, especially if you're placing a couple $100 order. So go to waytogrow.net. Check out what they have going on. We also want to give a shout to Incredibles Edibles. They just put out their new pumpkin spice bar. It's going to be 100 milligrams on both the med and the recreational side. They've done some revamping to their Mile Higher bar. It used to be 300 milligrams, and now it is 500 milligrams on the med side. So that's their mint chocolate chip bar. And they've also upped the dosage of the peanut butter Buddha and the Mile High from 200 to 210 milligrams. And then they also have, as usual, the everybody's favorite, the Fireberry. So it's a 300 milligram habanero dark chocolate. It's really good. Raspberries in there as well. The Strawberry Crunch Afgado for the coffee lovers. So again, best edibles everywhere. Hopefully worldwide soon, nationwide at least soon. But in the universe, as Adam would say. Adam's in Vegas.
Keep doing the read.
So there we go. So Incredibles Edibles. We also want to give a big shouts to Dark Horse Genetics. They have the new Dark Horse Hood Lamb collaboration hoodies right on the main.
Oh,
area
I
of
saw
the
those.
website.
We visited them the other day. I saw those hoodies. They're sick.
Yeah, they're awesome. So that's
Those guys are cool. They had a really cool facility over there.
that's where I work out of on a daily basis.
Oh, right on.
So
Yeah,
I'm really
yeah.
excited.
Good guys.
We have the new hoodies up for sale. So grab those. Also hop on the Jaw Farm. Get some of your genetics. They are currently carrying the, of course, Dark Horse Genetics. So get your banner, your clown shoes. But they also have Franchise Genetics, Pacific Northwest, Ocean Grown, The Plata, Jaws Gear, Mosca Seeds. So hop on there and pick up some seeds while you can from our friends at Dark Horse Genetics. Also want to give a shout out to Jeremy at Build a Soil, which, if I'm not mistaken, like you said, is bringing us next week's episode. So we're going to have Jeremy on next week doing what he does and pretty much giving us a quick
Putting the kid to
rundown.
sleep because he's giving you actual information.
He's teaching good things. So go to buildasoil.com, check out his blog. He pretty much has everything that you would need on there. Live organic soil. He has pretty much the full bio ag line, full power grow kashi, an assortment of different lights and pots, full humix. So hop onto buildasoil.com and grab something from them today as well. And then finally, our final shout is to Mary's Nutritionals, Elite Cannabis. So the guys at Elite Cannabis are working with Mary's Nutritionals, and they're funding these CBD products that are able to ship nationwide. They have the CBD patch, the Charlotte's Web pen, the CBD compound, the CBD gel pen, and the muscle freeze, and also the Remedy tincture. So and guys, these prices aren't raised from what they are in Colorado.
exactly what they are.
It's exactly the same.
Actually, you
So-
pay tax on top of that in Colorado.
Right. So out of state, you don't even have to worry about the in-state tax. So $16 for the CBD patch, $50 for the Charlotte's Web, 100 milligram 2-ounce stick. So go to marysnutritionals.com. Also, Mary's Pet Shop. They have some products for your pet on there as well. So again, big shouts to all of our sponsors. Thanks, guys.
Great read, kid.
Boom.
Can I do a couple shout outs?
Yeah.
You want to just do general shout outs? Sure, you could do that. We
First
do
of
that.
all, today's Veterans Day.
Oh, we're going to save those shout outs for give us about 20 minutes. Let's do when we do wrap up.
Oh, wrap
That's when
up.
we do a shout out. Everybody.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We'll definitely do those.
Well, you're not going to stop me. Happy Veterans
Do
Day.
it,
all
do
the
it, do
vets
it.
out there. 11 Bravo. Hoorah. Yeah, we're real proud of our boys.
Nice. Yeah, no, don't stop the Veterans Day one. Cool. Looks like we are wrapping up over here. You want to pull it early, kid? Was Adam
You guys
supposed
want
to
to try
call in?
some CO2 oil from California? I don't know how it got here, but it's here.
You mean from California, meaning Colorado before? Yeah.
Adam said he was going to call him, but he hasn't.
Let's let him know. Let's let him
Oh, I
know.
don't have Skype set up.
Oh, I thought you said you had Skype
I
running.
don't
Sorry.
know what's going on. It's being weird. So Adam, don't worry about it.
All right. Well, that was what I had planned for the rest of the show, man. We'll get Adam asking questions to these guys.
You planned Adam for 40 minutes.
No. I planned Adam for about a week.
Okay.
So, I guess you got a skeleton crew on your side of the desk too.
Yeah, I got
Might as
some
well just do
CO2 oil.
shout outs, I
I'm trying
guess.
to-
Oh no, I'm gonna eat more pizza.
Okay, cool.
Might as well do more shout outs.
You don't want to compare California CO2 versus.
I don't smoke Colorado CO2. So
they're starting. They'll be clear out here. Soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Mahatma.
That's funny. Odor Champ is in the chat room asking if how the air is in here this week. It doesn't feel like it did last week. It felt crazy. Have you been in a room with the Odor Champ running, Pat?
No, I have not.
Kind of fucking
heard a lot about it.
I didn't believe it, but it was like you feel it. You feel it. The different, like it just feels in a weird way, like magnetically or electrically different in your body.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's serious.
Pretty deep.
Cool. You know what? Let's wrap the show at 2.5 because I'm thinking everyone's got pizza in their mouths. We just got you left. I mean, I don't know how much did they cover everything you guys wanted to cover?
Yeah,
I felt
pretty
like
much. We got some new products coming down the pipe.
Yeah. Talk about those if you guys are open to talking about
doing a revision on plus size.
Okay, so what's changing about it?
A couple different components at up or down. Just based on research and
So,
the
like,
size,
reformulating a little?
The name we have to change because of label regs.
What's that?
They don't. California CDFA doesn't like the name plus size
Because it implies a larger size.
It's they consider it a claim that we're going to make your plants larger, which we are, but we can't. They want us to prove that to them in order to call it that. So
what are you going to be calling it?
It's going to be called Shine, and it's going to go along with a veg additive we're bringing in that's going to be called Rise. So you want more rapid, faster growth.
Rise and Shine.
Rise and Shine.
And what's going to be in that veg additive?
Chris would have to tell you exactly what's going to be in that one if he's willing to. I don't know. He can be kind of secretive about the secret.
I'm noticing that.
Formulations. Other than that, yeah, we're good.
That's all you guys got. Well, definitely. First of all, drop all your links. Hydroponic-research.com.
That's it.
Veg Bloom on Instagram.
Yeah.
What about Facebook, Twitter, all that other good stuff?
Yeah, mostly that. And then hydroponic researcher. Some people that we work with, sponsored grows out there. Pretty impressive stuff.
Where's that at? On Instagram?
Yeah.
Cool.
At hydroponic researcher.
Nice. Joe, do your plugs, man. Pizza plugs. Can't do it. Too busy eating.
Yeah, I'm busy.
I love it. See, I told you why.
This is why.
I hate when we eat because
themotherplant.com. That's the one.
That's the one.
What's the code to get on again?
ADS demo. Yup.
Code dissoluble.
And it's probably gonna switch from demo mode. Now that you guys are
OSA, Veg Bloom, Charcore, all of it.
And if you enter it incorrect 5 times, the computer blows up, right? So you
get the porn virus that we had in our old studio. That's how you get it.
And see that I just don't get it because it must just be the porn virus of Green Labs because we bring the same computer here
and it works.
It functions great.
Yeah, it's their network. It's in their network.
It's the terrible network of all the terrible people that they have had chosen to live in their studio house.
It's like the ghost in the machine.
It is. It's the phantom of the Pornhub, but it's fine.
Phantom of the Pornhub.
It's gone now. So.
Right on. Well, usually we'd be doing shout-outs right about now, like family and friend shout-outs, but Adam's not here, Bike's not here. It's so weird today. You want to do family and friend shout-outs?
I would. I really would. My girlfriend Tara is listening right now, and today is the 5th anniversary of her last day of a 3-year chemo treatment.
Wow.
And she's a survivor, so I love her.
Oh, yeah.
And,
hell yeah.
Yeah, big props to her for making it through. Love you, babe.
That's awesome. That's I love hearing that.
Kid, shout-outs?
Yep. Shout-outs to my dogs. Shout-outs to my beautiful girlfriend upstairs. And shout-outs to Adam in Vegas. Wish he could have been here for this awesome pizza. But
he would have complained.
He would have got mad. Blackjack, where are the beers? No, but really, it would have been. It's always a lame show without Adam. So, shouts to him and shouts to everybody down at Dark Horse.
Oh, you guys aren't Adam? What the fuck?
Shout out, of course.
We're gonna have to do this again. Shit, I flew all the way from California.
It ends up being pretty much the same thing. There's just a guy with a beard sitting here going,
in the spot right here.
Yeah. He sits there and does that. So it's otherwise it ends up being about the same.
One time, 22 years ago, when I was in Amsterdam.
You know what, kid? Why don't you take 4 and run with that? Actually, that's a good bit.
Admitted that
do it. No, good bit. Good bit.
No
good
more
bit.
cup
Do
there. No more
Do it.
cup there.
Former-
So what is
Jamaica
it? What
now.
is it? What is it now?
Well, now we need an old Jamaican guy.
Jamaica.
What about the coffee shops? Can you smoke there?
Sort of.
Since the Jamaican laws are only for tourists, I think, so pretty much everybody can just openly blaze. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
Right on. Well, of course, I got to give a big shout out to my beautiful and supportive wife, Reese, and little baby Farron, who's chilling out at home. I'm going to go hang out with them in just a bit. Big shout out to Adam and the whole Adam crew. You guys are listening in. Adam's not here to shout you out because he didn't call in. I don't know, man. Chat gang, we'll catch you guys next week. Everyone else, don't forget, next week we got a Build a Soil episode. And then following that, we've got 2 back-to-back breeder episodes, bringing it back to some genetics chat and some strain history. We'll be bringing all that to you coming up on the Adam Dunn Show. Don't forget to check out the replays on livestream.com/Adam Dunn Show. And, of course, this week's episode will be archived on adamdunshow.com. Until next week's. We'll talk to you guys then. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. Later. Oh, I'm so hungry. Someone said shout out to Cone Dog. Kid.
Yes.
To who?
To my cone head dog. It comes off in like 2 days. I cannot wait to be at the studio, dude. Like, I can't. This whole house thing is so. Yeah. But this is like only our second week out of like a studio because we're like what we were paying so much. So essentially, the studio that we were in before here was like if you brought this wall out and then connected it to where the wall is for my door. That's how big it was, maybe a little bit bigger, and we were paying a ridiculous amount of money. So we're moving studios below all the shops of Grassroots and the Hood Lamb and all that stuff. So we have maybe another 2 months. I was just there yesterday or 2 days ago looking at the walls and where we're gonna put everything in. But it's gonna be awesome. But we have a couple months until we're there.
Good thing is we can save up all those couple months.
Yeah.
Exactly, and
Because we're going to do it like proper.
in a short amount of time that has been on this planet
radio format.
Yeah.
2 couches on the set.
created in many
We're going
ways.
to do a separate set with a desk in front of a green screen so we
Switched
can
up names and flip
run
flopped
something